You guys, what's up, dude? What's up? Oh, it's Friday. It's Friday, dude. What's up, dude? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's goody in the hoodie? How's it going on this lovely Friday afternoon? Who is up in here? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Melissa Clark's in the house. Yeah, I did just happen to just like jump in their little video chat on Discord earlier today. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, hell yeah. I see Jennifer Pitts. We got Kyle Finnegan up in the house. What's up, Facebook? Where are you guys at? Who's up in here? I see Scruffmeister, Julia Brand. Let's go. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's goody? What's goody? Kyle Finnegan's in his house. What's up, Leah? What's good, Leah Pryor? Leah Pryor. Okay, I'm just going to do this right now. Might as well. Well, we got a good little group of people up over here. We got a whole group of people up in here on the Facebook. I'm telling you now, you guys probably want to come over to Kick, bro. I'm dropping the link to Kick in the chat. Not only one is that really where everybody that's up in the live stream chilling, just letting you know. But I dropped it in YouTube as well. Just giving you a heads up. That's where a lot of the people you'll be commenting up on the screen. That's where a lot of them are, as well as if you go and do subscribe or follow. I mean, if you go follow the Kick every Thursday evening, at least from now on. You're right. Maybe we're not going to do freaking sub onlys. We'll do those later. As it grows and grows and grows, we'll do a sub only. But for right now, I'm trying to build my Kick channel. So last night we had Queen Trip come join up on the stream. All right, Skyrocket Medi. You know what I'm saying? But we had a lot of people up on there last night. Me and Queen Trip were just chilling, hanging out, bro. So if you want to join like us, and I'm pretty sure I need everybody who's here to just comment a green heart to lock it in, because I'm pretty positive you may have heard it last night. If you were in the Kick chat, I'm pretty sure Queen Trip committed to every Thursday night. I'm pretty sure we have that moving forward, bro. You know what I'm saying, bro? You know what it is that I'm saying. All right, so if you're new here, this is basically what we do, player. Okay? So yeah, if you want to join the Kick streams when I have my wife with me, make sure you hit the link that's pinned to the top of the chat. It'll take you over to Kick. You won't miss a beat. I stream on Kick every day anyways, as well as at the end of every stream, we do have just like a little team meeting, a little group huddle only on Kick for like probably anywhere from the last 30 to 40 minutes of the stream. Every stream is on Kick specifically. So if you are new here though, first and foremost, I just want to say, I love you, bro. I appreciate you. Thank you for even clicking and joining up on this video. I want you to know as well that if you miss the live streams, I do post every day's live stream as a video on YouTube. Tripoverdrip on YouTube. So if you miss the stream, you can always make sure that you can go and watch the video on YouTube. I'm at 1,400 watch hours of the 3,000 hours I need to get to be able to move on to like the next level of YouTube creator, I guess. So if you ever feel bored, and I am also, I'm going to start doing this. Let me know in the chat. You tell me. Let me know in the chat. On YouTube, I'm going to create a playlist that says like something regarding like something to get ready to in the morning or something to wake up to. And I'm going to create a playlist with every single day's mindful message. So if you're ever in a funk or just need a little pick me up, you can just head over to the YouTube, go to the mindful message, like a little pick me up playlist, and you can just click a mindful message. So you always have, because you just never know. You never know when someone's down and they just need a little boost of morale, a little trip over drip in their life. You know what I'm saying? You heard me, Team Human in the chat, my boy. What's up, Monica, Canada? We're in it for a win it today. We got some shit to get into today. Today, like I said at the beginning of every single stream, I do like to do what I call a mindful message. It's an opening message that it's me speaking to you. No bullshit, human to human, heart to heart, eternal divine soul to eternal divine soul. Just trying my best to give you something that you can take with you. Like not information, not freaking conspiracies, not hate or division or political stuff. Heart to heart, soul to soul. Because I don't know how long you're going to be here. You could only be here for 15 minutes, so I better fucking hurry it right up to make sure that I can positively impact as many humans as possible. Because here on the Tripoverdrip Team Human stream, oh fuck, man, can we get some poop emojis in the chat so everybody who's new here can just see? We go down and talk about the craziest rabbit holes. We go down the coolest rabbit holes. We talk about everything under the sun. There is no off-limit topics. I have lots and lots of interests. I'm obsessed with light, frequency, cymatics, ancient architecture, understanding our history, even though it potentially may have been manipulated. I like to understand things in a deep, complex level because it allows me to integrated into my life. But I also wear a tinfoil hat and believe the Bigfoot is real and think that the aliens live in the ocean and that potentially Antarctica is an ice wall protecting our little realm from maybe some other outside worlds that potentially that is our human mind expands and our consciousness expands. The solar system will expand it and we're going to see more planets inside of our solar system as the human mind awakens. And if you're here for all of that stuff, make sure if you're on YouTube or Kick or Facebook or Twitch, you just hit that follow button so you can talk about everything under the sun with me, because that's why I like to do this. I like to come on here on live and talk about things and discuss things and entertain certain ideas and concepts. And I like to have it in a group setting because I'm a dad of 4. I'm a husband, and I don't really do much with any other humans outside of my immediate family, except for y'all. And we're still through a screen. We're not really face to face. So this is the closest I can get to just coming up in here and hanging out with my fucking homies. You heard? Because let's see, I've been streaming. Dang, bro. Can you believe this, dude? Fuck, I've been streaming for like 6 months straight, bro. 6 months straight, bro. Every day, brick by brick. We got Marie Moon in the house. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, Kimberly? Who do we got up in here? We got a bunch of people up on all right. We've been live. We've been live for 11 minutes. I think it's time for the mindful message. You guys ready for this? Cheers. Nobody is coming to save you. And I need you to let that hit your spirit before you decide that it's harsh. Because I'm not trying to like word this as like some sort of punishment. It's a release. This is the moment that you stop sitting at the door of your own life, waiting for someone else to arrive with permission, answers, closure, confidence, or even love. And you finally walk through that door yourself. You've waited long enough. You've waited for the apology. You've waited for the text. You've waited for somebody to recognize your value. You've waited for your family to understand why you had to change. You waited for the relationship to become healthy. You waited for the right moment, the right money, the right body, the right plan, the right sign, the right amount of confidence. But bro, let me just tell you, what if the right moment is the moment you stop waiting? What if the sign that you've been asking for is the discomfort that you keep feeling every time you betray yourself just to keep something familiar? What if the person that you've been praying would show up and lead you out of this season is you? And if you're ready to stop waiting to be rescued and start becoming someone that you can trust, you can just comment the words, I choose me. Because I love you enough to tell you the truth, bro. You cannot heal in the same place where you keep handing your power away. You cannot build confidence while you keep asking people who do not honor you to define your worth. You cannot become free while you keep giving someone else the authority to decide whether or not you are valid or your needs or feelings are valid. You cannot call love if you have to disappear inside of it. Sorry, you cannot call it love if you have to disappear inside of it. You cannot build self-trust while you keep leaving yourself behind. That's the part that nobody really ever wants to say out loud. We say we do trust ourselves, but a lot of the time we do hear ourselves. We know. We know, sorry. We say we do not trust ourselves, but a lot of the time we do hear ourselves. We know a lot of things about ourselves. We know when a relationship is draining us. We know when someone is only present when they need something. We know when a conversation is making us shrink. We know when our body is tired. We know when we're pretending to be okay. We know when our soul has outgrown a space, a pattern, a job, a friendship, or a version of ourselves. And then what happens next, almost inevitably, is fear starts to walk in, like the fear of being alone, the fear of being misunderstood or having to start over, the fear of making the wrong choice or of disappointing people, the fear of losing the identity that we built around being needed, being loyal, being the strong one, being the person who always makes things work. So we override ourselves. We call it patience. We call it compassion. We call it being the bigger person. We call it giving someone another chance. But sometimes it is not patience. Sometimes it's self-abandonment with a pretty name. I'm not saying that every hard season means you need to run. What I'm saying is that you need to stop running from yourself. You need to stop pretending that you do not hear the truth because the truth would require something from you. Maybe it would require a boundary. Maybe it would require an uncomfortable conversation. Maybe it requires you to say no. Maybe it requires you to rest without feeling guilty. Maybe it requires you to stop returning to someone who only feels safe, who you only feel safe around because it's familiar. Maybe it would require you to disappoint people who benefited from the version of you that had no boundaries. And yes, I understand deep. I understand how terrifying all of that can sound and be. But I really need you to understand something, bro. You can survive disappointing people who were comfortable with you abandoning yourself. Read that again or listen to that again. Read that again. Sorry. You can survive disappointing people who were comfortable with you abandoning yourself. You are not here to be digestible. You are not here to be easy to access at the expense of your own peace. You are not here to perform pain quietly so that everybody else can stay comfortable around you. You're here to live a life that feels honest when you're alone with yourself. That is real self-trust. Self-trust is not being fearless. Self-trust is not waking up one morning with every single answer. Self-trust is not becoming so perfectly healed that nothing hurts you anymore. Self-trust is being able to look at yourself and say, even when I'm afraid, I don't even abandon myself. That is a promise, bro. Not that life will always go your way. Not that nobody's going to hurt you. Not that you'll never make a mistake again. The promise is that you stop being the person who hurts you the most by ignoring your own needs, silencing your own truth, and negotiating your own worth just to keep people close. Because when you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, you begin to rebuild the relationship that you have with yourself. You say you're going to rest, and you actually rest. You say that you're not going to answer that text from a place of loneliness, and you actually wait to respond. You say that you're going to stop over explaining everything, and you actually let your no be a complete sentence. You say that you're going to leave the conversation when it becomes disrespectful, and you actually leave. You say that you're going to take care of your body, and you do one thing that honors it. That is how you build trust with yourself. Not in one huge dramatic moment, in the quiet moments where nobody is clapping for you. In the private decisions where you could betray yourself and nobody would know. Only you have any idea what I'm talking about. It's in the moments where you choose your future over the temporary relief of what is familiar. And every time you do that, oh boy, it seems crazy, but you're actually telling yourself, I hear you. I believe you. You are safe with me. I love you. And here is the spiritual gold that I want you to carry with you throughout the rest of today. Your intuition is often the quiet truth that remains after your fear has finished making all of the noise. I'll say that again. Your intuition, your gut feeling, most of the time it's the quiet truth that's still there after your fear has made all of your decisions. After your fear has influenced how you react, after your fear has made you scared and shrink, and after all the noise is gone. Because fear is loud. Fear says, what if nobody understands me? What if you regret this? What if you lose them? What if you cannot make it on your own? But your inner truth is always, usually the quieter one. It might whisper to you and says, this does not feel right anymore. And then you get another whisper that says, I'm tired of hurting myself to keep this. I need peace. I deserve honesty. I cannot keep going back. And you do not have to be certain about every detail to honor the truth. You do not need to know exactly how the story is going to end to stop reading a chapter that keeps breaking your heart. You don't really need a 10-step plan. You just have to take one honest step, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. And most of all, you do not need permission from people who benefit from you staying stuck. That's a big one for a lot of people. I'll say it again. You do not need permission from people who benefit from you staying stuck. All you need is courage. Not even confidence at first. Courage first. Confidence comes after you keep showing up for yourself that you can do hard things. And if you're ready to stop treating your life like a suggestion, if you feel compelled to, you can just comment the words, I trust me. Because you're allowed to protect your peace. You're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to disappoint people who expected you to betray yourselves for them. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to outgrow the version of you that survived being agreeable. You're allowed to be loved without earning it through exhaustion. You're allowed to stop confusing being needed for being valued. You're allowed to stop confusing attention with love. You're allowed to stop confusing history with loyalty. Just because someone has known you for a long time, that does not mean that they still deserve access to the version of you that's growing. And just because you made a decision yesterday does not mean that you are required to keep making it today. You're allowed to repair, bro. You're allowed to learn. You're allowed to say, I made that choice from a wounded place, but I am choosing differently now. That does not make you inconsistent. It makes you conscious. So listen to me closely. You are not behind because you're still learning to trust yourself. You're not weak because you feel like you need support. You're not broken because some of the choices you made have caused you pain. You were doing the best you could with what you have. But now you know more. Now you can hear yourself. Now you can see where you have been leaving yourself behind. And now you get to choose again one more time. But this time, choose the version of you who does not chase closure from someone who refuses to be clear. Choose the version of you who doesn't have to explain their boundary until it becomes a debate. Or the version of you who believes their own body when it says this is too much. Or how about you just started choosing the version of you that lets silence be information? The version of you who understands that peace is not boring. It is unfamiliar because chaos has had you addicted for so long that you had to prove your worth. You could also just choose the version of you who trusts that loneliness is temporary, but self-betrayal is expensive. Because here is what changes when you become someone who will not leave yourself. You stop begging to be chosen. You stop being terrified when people pull away. You stop chasing people who keep giving you confusion. Any of you guys felt like you were calling crumbs a meal just because you were hungry? You got to stop trying to convince people to see your value. When you finally learn to see it in yourself, you stop waiting for a rescue because you become the rescue. And I know it sounds big, but to be honest with you, it starts small. It starts with one honest no. One night that you don't go back. One boundary that you keep. One conversation where you tell the truth. One morning where you get up and you do the thing you promised yourself that you would do. One time you choose to sit with discomfort instead of reaching for the person, habit, or pattern that has already shown you that it can't hold you. That's how you return to yourself, bud. That's how you become the person who can lead your own life. And when you know for a fact that you will not leave yourself, it's inevitable that you'll stop being terrified of who else might leave you. That's real freedom, bro. So let this be a new agreement for me and all of Team Human, that I will not abandon myself anymore to be loved. I will not silence myself anymore to be accepted. I will not shrink myself to make other people comfortable. And I will not hand my power to people who have not earned access to it. But I will listen when my body says no. I will honor what I know. I will take the next honest step. I will become someone I can trust. And if this is your season of coming back to your own voice, can you please just comment Team Human? Because nobody is coming to save you. But the good news is you were never powerless. You've been here the whole entire time. You're here right now listening to this. And you're leading your own life now. I love you, Team Human. Shit, my dude. Shitty diddy bitty booty body dee doody da da. What's up, dude? Damn, we got 10 people up in here. What's up, Lottie, Emily, Joey, Brain, Kathy, what's up? We got Kimberly, Roxy, what's up? Matthew, let's go, what's up? Stana P14, Melissa Clark, Koi-Fish. We got Kyle Finnegan, Monica Canada, Anna Ray, Becky, Pretty Ricky, what's good? Julia Brand, what's up? That's my autism coming out. Don't worry. You're safe with me. What's up, motherfucking menace? Hell yeah. Let's go, dude. Cheerio, mate. Top of the morning to you, partner. Hello there, governor. I'm just turning into a weirdo over here, bro. Do you really think that there's fucking... You know, it's so funny, bro. People are silly, bro. People are silly, bro. You know, when you're just like this fucking walking trigger to people, you know, because you might say something that positively impacts them, but you also might say something that triggers them to fucking get angry or irritated with you, which is the whole point, because growth doesn't happen when you're comfortable. Like, for example, I posted this video. Darlene, what's up? I posted this video that I thought was funny because yesterday I was at the gas pump and I literally had the thought, fuck Trump, because we were, the gas prices is because of the war he lied to. He lied to us about the war, right? And then I post a video that basically just says that, and there's lots of fucking people that are a part of Trump's cult who are like, fuck you, you're an idiot. You don't get a job, loser. Oh, fuck. The simple pleasures in life, It's like, because if like some dude you never even met who's on the internet, bro, all of a sudden can just get you in your feels and you're just like pissed off the whole day, bro. Like, where do these mindful messages come from? Well, I just pick a topic. I'm going to be honest. I write like 3 or 4 paragraphs, and then I do use AI to help me with grammar and other things. But I pretty much write the whole thing. I do use it to make, I say, okay, if my topic today is self-trust, please provide me 10 opening questions that gain the viewer's attention immediately. And then I pick which one I want, and then I structure it all together. That's where the mindful messages come from. So it's basically me. I to be honest, it's like, I pretty much just write it out and use AI to make it so it sounds better, basically. If I'm being 100 with you. I just will say it. You know what I mean? I don't want freaking, I structure it, change it up, put the topics in. This is what I want. And I just write it out and type it out and sit here for a while and just type my thoughts. And then I just have AI help me structure it. I'm not good at organization, dude. My fucking, my freaking brain is all over the place, bro. Like, realistically, bro, once I get to a point where I have the financial means to pay for a team of people to help me, dead ass, I need it. I'm just not good. I'm good at other things, but like the organization of things and just like the freaking, like, if it was, to put it this way, bro, my brain is everywhere all the time, bro. I'm thinking about like 3 different things right now while I'm speaking to you. I mean, I forget shit. I smoke a lot of weed, bro. Smoke some of that devil's lettuce. I smoke the devil's lettuce. Smoking the devil's lettuce. I wish I could freaking do that whistle like Herbert the pervert from freaking Family Guy. Jeez. I wish I could do it. Come here, Peter. I can't do it. You know what I'm talking about, bro. Herbert the pervert. You want me to show you a picture of him? Yeah, you can die from real lettuce. He'll blow your asshole out. That's the rumor on the streets, is that lettuce out there now will fuck your butthole up. This guy, Herbert the pervert. This motherfucking creepo. You know who I'm talking about, bro? You know what I'm talking about? His little voice, his little whistle. I wish I could do that impression, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's just so crazy now that I'm older that, it just, now that I go back and like see some of this stuff, like it's so insane to actually think about how they just like interjected a pretty predominant character into Family Guy that is very obviously a pedophile. I got some candy for you. Stanley, I got some candy for you. It's over here in my prison pocket. Would you boys like some popsicles? I wish I could do it. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I could do the whistle, bro. I don't know. Maybe I'm fucking weird for it. Oh, yeah. If a Jew needs a liver, he can take it out from a living innocent non-Jew. The Torah would permit that. Whoa. Wait a second. Grok, is this real? Hey, did this famous rabbi actually say this? Grok's response is yes, in a 1996 interview with the Jewish Week, Rabbi Yitzhak Ginsburg said, if a Jew needs a liver, can you take the liver of an innocent non-Jew passing by to save him? The Torah would permit that. He linked it to the infinite value of Jewish life while also saying non-Jewish lives remain holy. Weird. You think that's how they act? They're like, yeah, we're superior. Fuck you. Oh, yeah. Yeah. What about this? Isn't it kind of crazy to really actually look at this image, bro? Does this image speak volumes to you about the society that we live in? Like, I'm genuinely asking you. Like, I've said this before about the quality of, even though you shouldn't eat McDonald's, it's probably not good for you. It's like 100% not good for you. Little me, big you. Okay. Let's see here. Go like this over here, like that. Little. Better? Is it better? Is it better for you to watch it? Okay. Okay, so just to let you guys know, check it out, check it out. If you're on Facebook, it's pinned to the top of your chat. I'll drop it again just for shits and gigs. Drop it again just for shits and gigs. If you're on Facebook, I'm telling you, you're going to have a better time watching it, bro. If you click the link that's pinned to the top of your chat, it's going to take you. Thank you, Becky, for sending the kicks. I appreciate you. I love you. You're gonna have a better viewing experience if you use Kick. Kick is just a streaming platform. It literally allows you to, instead of watching the stream like this, yes, my screensaver is a Game Boy, and then it'll allow you to turn it like this and watch. What's up, Kathy Provost? I appreciate your kind words. Who do we got up in here? We got eight or nine people in Facebook. It doesn't show me how many people are in Kick, but I love you, Kick. We've got, let's see, 6 or 7 people up over on YouTube. I appreciate you guys for just even coming up over in here today, bro, for real. I say it all the time, and I'm not saying it because I'm trying to over-exaggerate. I genuinely am grateful for you just being you and being here and doing whatever it is you want to do while you're here. Hopefully, obviously you just participate and comment and like and engage with all the other humans that are here with me, with you in this moment, like the present moment, the real moment. Just appreciate you. Pretty Ricky's in the house. Dana, what's up? What's up? But yeah, there's a link I just put on in each chat. I'm like 68 out of 100. I need 100 people. I need 100 individual humans to chat in Kick in a 30-day period for me to like move on to the next level. So if you do go over to Kick, please put a green, a red, and a yellow heart. Kick is just a streaming platform. The cool thing about Kick versus Twitch is that Kick doesn't play ads. They're not going to try and sell you shit while you watch. As well as if you do choose to give kicks or subscribe to my channel or gift subs to the Kick channel, Kick is the one channel that takes care of the content creator the most. Twitch takes like 70%. Kick gives the content creator like 85%. So it's a big one. And they are, and oh yeah, and Kick isn't part of the Epstein class. Fuck that, dude. Anyways, so this is what I was talking about with this picture, right? For one, can you just for an example, look at how much work would take to make each one of these? You can obviously see with the 19th century streetlight that they put some pride into that. They put their time and their energy and really dedicated their attention in the present moment consistently to build something like this. It almost as it seems that this is a prime example of we've watched our country turn into a prison. They've literally taken all of the life. They've taken all of the pizzazz, the sassiness, the bright colors out of everything. I just wanted to talk about that for a minute. Oh, sorry. These clips are heavy on the Jews. Just saying. Just one or two. Just one or two, okay? The whole stream's not about Jews. Please don't leave.
An Israeli national run what the FBI described as the largest human trafficking case in the United States. The answer, of course, is yes. In September 2010, federal authorities unsealed a major indictment in Honolulu. At the center was Mordecai Orion, the Israeli national who was also the president and CEO of Global Horizons Manpower Incorporated, a Los Angeles-based labor recruiting company. The FBI and U.S. Department of Justice called this the largest human trafficking case ever charged in American history. Prosecutors alleged that Mordecai and his associates ran a scheme that targeted roughly 400 Thai farm workers, while some reports put that number closer to 600. Between 2004 and 2005, under the legal H-2A Agricultural Guest Worker Program, recruiters in Thailand promised these men high-paying jobs lasting up to 3 years. Wages were advertised at more than $8 an hour. Many workers paid enormous recruitment fees between $9,500 and $21,000, money they borrowed against their family homes and land. Once the workers arrived in the United States, the indictment claimed that the company took their passports away from them. They were sent to farms in Hawaii, Washington State, California, and other locations across the country. Contracts were not honored. Work was often sporadic. Living conditions were described as overcrowded and inadequate. When workers complained or tried to leave, they were threatened with deportation. That threat carried a special weight, returning home and facing crushing debts that could cost their families everything. The indictment charged Mordecai, several company employees, and 2 Thai recruiters with conspiracy to commit forced labor and documented servitude. Mordecai turned himself in to the FBI in Honolulu and pleaded not guilty. 3 co-defendants eventually pled guilty. Mordecai faced a maximum of 70 years in prison if convicted. The case drew national attention. Advocates called it a landmark fight against modern exploitation of guest workers.
Can you guess? Can you guess what happens next? Can you guess what happens next? Give me your Cash App, she said. I'll drop the Cash App up in there. I'll drop the Cash App up in there, even though for some reason Cash App is kind of gay and it says that I'm a scam for some reason. We'll go like this. Boom. Bam. There you go, Dana. Trevor Hess, 87. Someone says, give me your Cash App. I could really use a blessing right now, actually. 'Cause it's hard out here for a pimp when he's trying to spend that money on a rent. All the Cadillac and cash money spent. He got a whole lot of bitches jumping ship. Anyways, this dude right here, he was charged in the largest labor exploitation trafficking ring in American history. And guess what happens next?
Hundreds of Thai men later received special T visas available to victims of trafficking. Then, in July 2012, just weeks before Mordecai's trial was set to begin, federal prosecutors asked a judge to dismiss all charges. The government said it could not prove the elements of the offenses beyond a reasonable doubt. The criminal case against Mordecai and the remaining defendants was dropped. Civil lawsuits by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission continued. A judge later found the company liable for discrimination and abusive treatment of some workers. This remains one of the most significant labor trafficking investigations in U.S. history.
You know, it just seems so crazy. It just seems crazy that when he started saying that a federal judge asked for a dismissal. Weird. It just seems as if, like, if people were being exploited and trafficked, why would it seem like the federal government is just along for the ride, bud? Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. Dead ass, bro. Whatever blackmail they have on Trump, bro, is fucking heinous as fuck, bro. Fuck Howard Lutnick. Oh, thank you, Dana. I appreciate you. You're a he. I understand. I appreciate that. You never know. Sometimes it's a confusing name because there's people that follow and watch me that live in different countries, and I have a hard time. Some people, you can just put a screen name sometimes. I'll be trying my best. I apologize, sir. Thank you. It just seems fucking weird, bro. It just seems weird, bro. That's all I'm trying to say. It seems weird, bro. You guys know who these people are? You know Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson? I'm going to let them talk.
I think actually that some of the mysteries in our past that remain to be exposed do concern secret societies and do concern a behind the scenes organization that is somehow involved in making civilizations. I won't go too far into that, but there are so many traditions, for example, from ancient Sumer, which speak of this, which speak of the role of these particular advisors who seem to be part of a.
Wait a second. Dude, you're hearing it right out of Graham Hancock's mouth. Secret societies? Bro. Dana, bro. Thank you so much, bro. Dude, I appreciate you. Dude, it's not very often that someone just randomly blesses somebody else. Homie just sent me $150. I don't know what compelled him to send that, but I just have to tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you, bro. You're a blessing. I'm grateful for you. Genuinely. I really appreciate that. Gift giving is not one of my love languages. Gift receiving just always gives me an immense amount of gratitude, because coming from someone who always put my self-worth in other people's hands, and I determined how much I was worth to myself based off of my perception of other people around me, to grow from that, and then to have people show me love and support me. It's just like this. It was just like, it's just something amazing. I don't know. I can't say it. I appreciate you, Dana, bro. I appreciate you so much. But Graham Hancock said secret societies from the last cataclysm have stayed alive. Let's just listen to this in its entirety. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. 1.25.
I think actually that some of the mysteries in our past that remain to be exposed do concern secret societies, and do concern a behind the scenes organization that is somehow involved in making civilizations. I won't go.
Does anybody else resonate with that? A secret society that's just like, you know what I'm saying? I do. I just want a bear hug. If you ever see me in public, I like to hug people. And anyone ever's like, oh, I follow you, and they try to come shake my hand, I'm the type of person, I'm not shaking your hand. I'm like, can I have a hug, bro? Give people hugs, you know? I like to touch my heart chakra to their heart chakra. If I'm just a fucking weirdo, I don't know.
I won't go too far into that, but there are so many traditions, for example, from ancient Sumer, which speak of this, which speak of the role of these particular advisors who seem to be part of a esoteric or secretive group, which is there to guide and advise societies over very, very long periods of time. And you know, the academic disbelief that such ideas could be retained for thousands of years is, in my view, nonsense. Passed on within a highly structured oral tradition, the ideas can survive potentially forever.
Potentially, yes. And it brings to something, a question that I've intrigued me for a long time, which is that given catastrophes, you know, one of the details of myths over and over again is that there was some group, some individuals that had foreknowledge.
Yeah.
Now, where did that foreknowledge come? I mean, we can kick it upstairs and say it was some kind of divine revelation, but that doesn't really explain anything.
Lost ancient science.
Right. Consistently, somebody had foreknowledge. They were able to prepare, again, referring to like the Masonic craft, there's a legend of Enoch knowing that the flood was going to come. And so he took steps to preserve the ancient science and stories by...
And of course, it's the same story with Atrahasis in Mesopotamia.
Yes.
You know, warned by the god Ea or Enki of the coming of the flood, takes steps, makes preparations, and even buries tablets with knowledge upon them in the city of Sippar.
Yes, and
to be recovered later by mankind after the disaster.
Well, and then like Plato says right there,
the one that on the left, this guy over here, his name is Randall Carlson. I'll find his YouTube after this, okay? I'm grateful for you, Melissa.
In Timaeus, he says, well, those who survive are going to typically be who essentially survive by the luck of the draw are going to be wholly preoccupied with continuing to survive in the aftermath, in the desolation in the aftermath of a flood or a catastrophe, whereas those who took steps to prepare are going to be the ones who are preserving the knowledge to pass it on. And that to me does not sound so exotic or esoteric or ridiculous that, I mean, even today we have prepper movements, people who are...
Sure. You know, it sounds perfectly reasonable.
Because if you really... What's crazy, bro? So think about this, bro. Let's say Noah, okay, from like Noah's Ark, bro. Oh yeah, and then I just wanted to show you this real quick. So let's see. Let's show you this. I'll finish my thought. Just this is how it is for everybody. This is how they're being sold. You know what I'm saying? The government's saying yes for flock cameras, while literally every single human on the planet's saying no. Just like the data centers, we're all saying no, and they're just saying yes. But let's just say, okay, obviously, if with Noah's Ark, bro, he had knowledge prior to getting on to the Ark. You don't think that potentially the people who got on Noah's Ark, let me go like this real quick. Let me go like this real quick. Volume up, volumes up, volumes up, volumes up. Here's the link to Randall Carlson. That's his name, Randall Carlson. The person that was just talking to Graham Hancock. Randall Carlson. The Randall Carlson. All right, I got to go. My mom's here to take my kids swimming. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that when I get back, Melissa. That Gary, Indiana is currently out of power. It's a city in America that is, the whole city has been without power for over a week, and not one mainstream media outlet has even fucking talked about it, bro. But my kids are going to go swimming with my mom here at the pool that's our community has. I'm going to put on Base Forge. I'm just going to when I come back, this is brand new, but this came out yesterday, I think. When I come back, 17 hours ago. When I come back, we will probably watch this whole entire thing, and then we will go back and we've been reading a little bit from this book called The History of Magic. It was written in 1913. It's pretty compelling. We'll read a little bit, and then after we read, we are going to finish the Matthias De Stefano, Aubrey Marcus. But I'm just going to leave you with this for right now. Can we just get some Team Humans in the chat wherever you are? I'll be right back.
It is a making again of all things good, a holy and awe-inspiring restoration of all nature by the eternal will of the Creator. Some of the strangest stuff I've ever seen on the internet, and it has to do with light. So when you shine a laser exactly on a hole drilled in a bottle or something with water in it, the laser will follow the water stream. That is a property of light called refraction, and it's how we see rainbows. In total refraction like this, it would be like shining the laser pointer on your hand, but it's going through the stream of water. Now, if you use that same laser and you shoot it through a water droplet that's dripping off a syringe, you can create a microscope, hoping your water's not that dirty. This one's insane. This is from a guy called Art Pete Repeat. He does these cool color and light experiments. You should definitely give him a follow. If you have a red, green, and blue flashlight and you shine them all together, what combines in the middle is white light. This is basic color theory. It has to do with the harmonics of waves. Light is a wave. If you create a barrier or a slit and put it in the middle of that white light, you can split it back up into its parts. That's not even the coolest part. The shadow is the inverse of that slit. Waves are related through geometry. Those three colors are related in a triangle. The inverse of that triangle is the shadow colors. The shadow will cancel out its inverse passing through the slit due to interference. Some waves constructively interfere and some destructively interfere. That's destructive interference. This is a wild one. This is called stereographic projection. It's how maps are made. This is the process of taking something in a higher dimension like 3D and converting it into 2 dimensions using just light and shadows. This is how we make maps. It gets weirder when we get smaller. This is a photon, or a hologram of one at least. They move in packets, kind of like sound waves. Notice that shape. That shape is the same shape as the Great Pyramid when viewed from the top down. It is 8-sided. I know what you're thinking. What does that have to do with a photon? It's just a coincidence. The corner slope angle of the Great Pyramid is 42 degrees. You remember what 42 degrees is? It is the refractive angle of the sphere. The interior angle is a golden ratio lower, that golden ratio. A perfect glass sphere will bend light at a phi ratio. That's where the intersection point is. The Great Pyramid nails it at 400 feet tall. Shake your phone really slow from side to side. Those people will stop moving. It is shockingly easy to fool your brain. You want to see? This next one's called the split depth illusion. Just by using 2 parallel lines, you can make anything appear to be 3D. Here's one a guy made just by cropping the Star Wars movie and putting the bars in. Those 2 were the easiest ones. This one still gets me. There's no red. There's no red in that image. Your brain is making the red that goes in the Coca-Cola can. Your brain is coloring the image right now. Yeah, you did that yourself. You know what else your brain can do? Stare at the center of that grid. The lines will make themselves straight the longer you stare at the center of the grid. Look at you go with that big, sexy brain. It gets way cooler. Salvador Dali hid this girl in spheres using a technique called the Gestalt switch, where you secretly hide an image in the non-focused space. Dolphins are lovers. Depending on how developed you are, will determine what you see. This is not new at all. The ancient Hindu did this with their carvings. You had to look at it a certain way to get the full image. They even managed to do it in 3D. Favorite by far, Egypt. They hid the biology of consciousness in their art and headdresses, even in the temples themselves. It was like a secret language. The more you learned, the more was revealed in the carvings. Why? It ensured you understood properly before you got taught something that could harm you or others. And it safeguarded the knowledge from other people who were unaware of the techniques. We are literally still decoding this to this day. Weirdest thing, they believed the ultimate illusion was this reality. Color. It's weird. Let's figure it out. So Mr. Pete here has a red, green, and blue light combining into purple. He puts that piece of paper in front of those lights. It refracts through the cracks to create RGB, and the shadow of that little stick creates CMY. RGB is what your phone uses to make color, and CMY is what printers use to make color. CMY is cyan, magenta, and yellow. It's used for printing because when you separate those layers out, you can use a printer to print in layers to create the image, kind of like what he's done here with this photo. You can see the exact parts of the photos that contain magenta, cyan, and yellow. Colors are only visible with light, obviously. Your eyes see them differently through different filters, like the atmosphere or the ocean. This is very important for all life.
What's up? What's up? We're gonna. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. We're gonna keep watching this. What's up, Cobra Kai? Queen Trips up in the house. What's good? What's goody? What's goody? Who do we got up over here? We got Octavio. We got Cynthia in the house. We've got Zikkoy. We got Lacey Lane. Thank you. What's up, Lacey Lane's in the house. Alardusu. I can't say it. People's screen names always mess me up. Monica, what's goody? How are y'all doing? How are y'all feeling today? This shit, Base Forge always blows my mind. Can we get poop emojis if Base Forge blows your mind?
Different colored shirts manipulate heat differently. If you look closely, that dark green is even hotter than...
Just a second. What's up, Katie? Katie, what's up? Just letting y'all know. I'll do it again. Facebook. Come up over on Kick. We're up on Kick, dude. We're on Kick, dude. Hit the link in the chat, Facebook. Come over to Kick. Vox Balder, what's up, bro? I just want to let you know. Dude, I like that shirt, bro. You look good in that freaking Awakened Bear tie-dye, bro. I seen your video. I seen your video. Thank you.
The black shirt. That is because green is the perfect phi ratio in the visible color spectrum. And as we know, the golden ratio is very easy to see in plants. But what does it mean? In very simple terms, green is the most energetically dense form of light. It's like jet fuel versus diesel. If you look at the prism experiment, I'm sure everyone has seen this, how light refracts through a triangular prism. That's how rainbows are formed. But you only get those triangles from the spheres of raindrops. They triangulate that color to your eyes. If you pass light through a crystal sphere, you can see this in action. If you use a sphere of any diameter, it always follows the phi ratio.
You did, Lacey Lane. You bought a shirt. Let me show you, actually. Can I show you guys? For everybody who doesn't know, tripoverdrip.shop, bro. Let me just drop the link in all the chats for everybody. Tripoverdrip.shop. Guess what? That bear, this one right here, the bear, the awakened bear. If I refresh the page, the bear is gone. All of the bears have been bought. Lacey Lane also bought a cup as well. She did. She bought a tie-dye and a cup. Tripoverdrip.shop. We got all sorts of stuff, bro. We got canvas bags. We've got to freaking fucking release all of their names. Stop protecting pedophiles. We got some loungewear, some shorts, and some tank tops for the divine masculine. We've got that divine feminine wear. But this is what I was talking about. Signed tie-dye t-shirt. There's only like 2 left of these right here, so get yours today. Get yours today. Happy anniversary, Cynthia. We got some tumbler cups, bro. That Tripoverdrip tumbler. Shit's right here. We got that motherfucking other one right here. Tripoverdrip.shop, everybody.
Show for the reflection angles. And for those that know, I'm just going to leave this one right here for you. Now, if we look up the elements that make up every single thing, they all have a color. It's because everything is fundamentally light, and the orbitals of these atoms are constantly reflecting light at different angles depending on how energetically charged they are. That's how they used to make the colors in old neon signs, by combining these elements. And why the divergent sciences and esoteric circles use that periodic table. Quantum science is now catching up to this with quasi-crystals, and you can see the phi ratio in those as well. You take a music note and move it up enough octaves, you get its corresponding color in the light spectrum. This is one of the reasons why electronic music is so immersive, because they are tied together. Bubble cymatics. Probably going to want to sit down for this, because you're looking at a 4-dimensional hologram. Watch this. When you blow a bubble on a speaker, the light that's shined on the speaker gets reflected in a pattern that reflects the frequency. The sound traveling through the speaker and the bubble warps the bubble into a shape of the sound. You'll see in this one that it's mixing up the fluid as well. Different frequencies, different patterns. If you know the correct frequency, you can control the pattern. This is very important because these patterns control things like the currents in the oceans. Liquids and gases allow us to see the movement of energy going through them. With bubble cymatics, we can better understand and make them, even shaping them into 4D objects like the torus. So what is 4D? 4D just means that you cannot perceive the shape unless the shape is moving. Otherwise, it looks like a bent, twisted 3D shape. Sound travels through a wire into the speaker, and then the speaker projects that pattern through the air. It's literally flying math. That's what you're seeing right there. Those images are a projection of that geometry, like a shadow of a very complex object. That is what you see in the patterns. That pattern right there is literally a slice through a bubble traveling through the air. It's frozen frequency. You're actually probably very aware of what dimensions are. 1 is a point, 2 is a line, 3 is depth. If you keep expanding, you progress in complexity. If you rotate that object, you get its dimensional symmetry. So we expand the dimension and then we rotate it to look straight down it. This way we can see the pattern of that dimension. Right here, we're just making higher dimensional cubes. It can be reduced back to a point. A 10 cube.
That shit's crazy, huh? It's just crazy to see a visualization of it. Yeah, Katie, it says Katie and Fretton. You're saying not kick. Please tell me, am I in kick or face fuck? You're in face fuck. You're not in kick. A decaract.
Is called a decaract. In the shape, the points are corners and the lines are edges. If we overlay that on the cymatic, we see the geometry of the frequency. That cymatic has 10 folds, 10 slices of that pizza. The corners and edges of that 10 cube bend the light into that pattern. Some of the corners and edges reflect, some of them cast shadows. Some of them reflect into shapes like that. Who cares? Seeing this is like seeing through the veil, the illusion of the dimension that you're in. Recognizing these patterns allows you to see how your brain is building the hologram frame by frame. You're just reading frequencies. This new MRI display is the coolest thing I've ever seen, I think. There's now evidence that humans could see magnetic fields. Biologically, we have developed a lot of tools to sense invisible things. A lot of animals can still do this, but in the broad spectrum of reality, we only experience a tiny fraction of it. But there's a ton of weird things dormant in DNA. We used to call this junk DNA. We thought it was leftover remnants from evolutionary processes, but now we know that it helps us adapt to our environment, like switches on and off for the genes. In the back of the eye, there are rod and cone cells. In the inner segment of the rod cell is something called a cryptochrome, which contains a gene.
Cryptochrome. Cryptochrome, cuh. Cryptochrome.
That would allow you to see magnetic fields. Then, when you find out DNA acts like a fractal antenna in the exact frequency of the electromagnetic spectrum of the Earth, this might be a useful trait for DNA to express. This is a basic fractal antenna. It looks like those things they used to put on top of cathedrals. Very simple. The big cross interacts with bigger waves. As you get smaller inside those crosses, they interact with smaller and smaller wavelengths. DNA also does this, but it folds into a ball. And when you unfold it, you have a fractal wave expressing similar genes. The first time we see these patterns are in ancient Greece in the Temple of Artemis on the Ionic columns. A long time ago. But what the exact
Here, how about this? People are saying that they're having trouble getting up over to kick. Sure, you can if you're having trouble getting up over to kick, Katie, I will then drop the link to YouTube. YouTube and Kick, you know, everybody's got YouTube. Kevin is a human. What's up, Kevin? Kevin is a human's up on YouTube. What's good, brother? Glad to see you here. How's your day going?
mechanism is that switches this on and off and activates that processing region, still a mystery. Ancient India, they viewed stars as gateways to essentially download higher conscious information. I know, I thought it was crazy too, but hear me out, this might change your mind. If you use frequency with light, you combine the two, you could essentially create a star map with shorthand icons using light and how it connects to create a map. Our internet works on light, and things like Stonehenge use very basic methods to achieve incredible precision. But this is why India is so interesting. So I talk about these ceiling features all the time because they look like a freaking particle collider. But there's these little floral decorations that get overshadowed by the big guys. These sent me down the rabbit hole. Because out of all the ways you could draw or carve a flower, they picked ones that matched up with cymatic patterns every time. Not even kidding. Every one that I've looked at matches up with a cymatic pattern perfectly. But how do they link up with the stars? And this is actually the most obvious part. There's a temple, I'm not going to say it because I'm going to butcher that, but it has the lunar stations and the zodiac carved on the ceiling. Each one of these patterns is unique and represents a constellation in their zodiac. Now, all temples from India to cathedrals use light and the manipulation of it to track alignment. Same in Egypt. Same in Stonehenge. A seasonal calendar tracking a very far off star does not make sense. But ships do, to get to specific destinations here in the water, which is exactly how they described it in the Vedic tradition. In the Mayamata, these patterns fix the energy to the building. In the Shastras, they say this is the unfolding of the cosmos. So you allow that light to come through calculated openings in the temple. Then unfold the light using a cymatic pattern that matches up with the light's frequency. Through the water, you unfold the star's pattern with cymatics, make a map of the Vedic internet system. That's magic.
Dude, some of the stuff he be saying, bro, blows my mind. It's like, how could you, knowing what these people were doing in our ancient past, bro, and these structures that they were building, and you just like, I try my best to like, okay, so let me bring you in close. This is going to be a little bit longer of a, what my opinion is. Okay, you all ready for this? Like what? Imagine their state of mind. Like what is their state? What were these individuals' states of mind to create these things? Like in order to create these temples and the pyramids, Stonehenge, and all of these things, do you believe that through the industrialization of agriculture and food, remember how yesterday they were talking a lot about how on Wednesday, Matthias was talking about cereal and ceremony. Do you remember? And he was talking about that's one of the things how the Romans controlled and was able to actually dictate more into their lives is because they controlled the food. Because if certain food is grown at certain periods of time and they followed the lunar cycles and the astrology and the sun and the moon, they were talking about how each day represents a different astrological sign because each day has a different energy that's harnessed. And during certain periods of the year, when the space around us is in a certain position, the energy is differently. Like for the celebration at the end of the year, which we now use and call Christmas, was like the winter solstice and Yule, and there's all sorts of different names for it. But if they can control the food, they get to control what type of food you are able to even share. So they're able to control it way down even to an energetic level. But think of it this way. Before the poison, okay? Because you have to think but there was a period of time where our diet wasn't predominantly filled with food that's poisonous. Now, you, like me, are probably the individual that like watches what you eat and uses Bayer, shout out Bayer, to like find if it's healthy, if there's like weird chemicals inside of it, and or if who owns the product. But so you're probably like me and pay attention, but there's a mass portion of people out there that don't pay attention and they just eat whatever. And you have to think for a second that what you're eating does affect your mind and your ability to perceive and experience this thing called human life in this 3D fractal light matrix that we live in. And so at that period of time when they were creating like these beautiful structures, this beautiful statues, pictures, like paintings, fucking like everybody was just like in a flow state when everything was like being invented and discoveries and all of these things. Is it because they weren't being poisoned by their food? As well as, have you ever experienced any sort of psychedelic medicine? It's something that people call visuals. I call it visual breathing. Do you think that there was a period of time where our consciousness was so much more expanded and we weren't being poisoned in our air, our water, and our food? Our souls were light and luminous because we were connected to the earth and the actual humans across the planet, that potentially what we perceive now is actually a dulled and dumbed down version of what they maybe perceived. Maybe they did see more vibrant colors. Maybe they did see energy more and connection more, feelings more. I'd really like to know what you think. Anyways, let's get back over here.
Explanation for what this is an internet device. Let's be real. That's the winter solstice at Stonehenge. That's the spring equinox at Angkor Wat. Chichen Itza does the cool snake thing at the equinox. Why? You only need a stick and some shadow measurements to figure these dates out. If you look at a map, the sun draws a sine wave during the solstices and a square wave during the equinoxes. This is important. I learned two things in college, and one of them was the Fourier transform that takes a sine wave and converts it to a square wave, or anything else you want, actually. Square wave's easy because Chichen Itza is a square, so why is this a circle? Well, all sine waves are actually circles. Any music producer will tell you this. The difference is how we decipher the wave. That's called protocol. Protocol is the way that different brands and technology interpret the signal. Another method of sending signal is light, like fiber optics use. Let's imagine that each one of these spinning balls creates a vortex of light. Each specific star represents a constellation that uses a different protocol. One could be circles. This one here could be squares. Wave has to be interpreted like this oscilloscope is interpreting that audio wave. If you have the right math, you can draw anything with a wave. Like music, that has a lot going on though. Cymatics can visualize pure sine or square wave tones. A bunch of shapes that represents a sound, then we have an alphabet. If everything is vibrating, And everyone uses the same language, just a different protocol or connector. Out of all the ancient solstice alignments, there is one culture that actually explained why they did it. And you guessed it, it's the Egyptians. 2,000 years before Stonehenge, they built Nabta Playa. The things aligned to...
Does anybody know about Nabta Playa? If I'm being 100 with you, this is a structure that I'm not familiar with. Nabta Playa. Interesting. 6100 BCE.
The solstice, the equinox, and the same stars that the Giza Plateau is aligned to. There's a very important document and a very important hieroglyph explaining why they did this. This particular one is called the Papyrus of Queen Nishmet. And right under that is what happens when you shine light through a sphere. This was apparently very easy for the Egyptians. The angle of a rainbow is in the hidden angle of the Great Pyramid, and the Great Pyramid itself is the same refractory angle as a sphere.
Wait a second. Wait. What? The pyramid in Giza is at the same angle as a rainbow? He just said that?
One is called the Papyrus of Queen Nishmet. And right under that,
It's in Egypt, Scruffmeister. In Egypt.
that is what happens when you shine light through a sphere. This was apparently very easy for the Egyptians. The angle of a rainbow is in the hidden angle of the Great Pyramid, and the Great Pyramid itself is the same refractory angle as a sphere. Back to the papyrus, the angles of those lines are actually the summer and winter solstice. You can get these guys by building a monument or using landmarks. And if you think the female bending over the monument looks weird, that's not a female, that's the deity Nut representing the cosmos. In our example, she's over Nabta Playa. You actually need 4 points to triangulate anything, and the solstice and equinox provide 4 reliable points. So yeah, it's a seasonal calendar, but it's also a celestial GPS. Seasonal calendars can be obtained using a really long stick. Solstice and equinox shows you where to point. When we look at the stars, we have 12 windows. That's the maximum amount of times you can perfectly divide a sphere. That clue was actually given to us by those weird Roman dodecahedrons. The papyrus shows 12 deities guiding the queen through this network. It's explicitly stated that it's a communication protocol, not a physical protocol, a conscious protocol, like your computer address accessing the internet. That papyrus is from the Book of the Dead. If you understand this, you're gonna be fine. You'll be okay, because this is a big one. This is an optical phenomenon called my scattering, and that is an eagle flying with a deer. That's an eagle trying to kill a goat. Globally, the symbol of...
What the fuck? Bruh, I just had my mind blown. Have you ever seen a fucking eagle carry a deer, bro? That shit kind of messed me up a little bit. That shit's crazy.
A phenomenon called my scattering, and that is an eagle flying with a deer. That's an eagle trying to kill a goat. Globally, the symbol of the eagle has been used for almost all of human history, especially the winged disc. Most ancient traditions have a bird like Garuda that symbolize wisdom or light. That's why there's fire and light around it, like the Byzantine eagle here. The eagle then got mutated into an empire symbol, and then now we have the American eagle, which we all know. Okay, so why the bird though? There's a lot of cool creatures on the planet. Why the bird? Well, in that video, I showed you how ancient Sumer's art is actually describing diffraction patterns. They educated through art, so you learn through experience instead of sitting in a classroom all day. Okay, so when we pass light through a lens, the shape of the lens affects how the light comes out of the lens. Easy enough. When you pass it through a sphere though, it looks like this. The light parts are when the diffracted waves amplify, and the dark parts are where they cancel out. So when we look at it like a point source shining on a sphere, then we have the diffraction pattern. There are no eagles with red, green, and blue feathers in Egypt. It's illustrating chromatic aberration. That pendant was found in King Tut's tomb. It is the royal falcon of Egypt. Now when people explain Egypt, they say, oh, this symbolized this, or this was a myth for this, and it makes it really fun for kids to learn. That's why it's not interesting, because people just parrot off what they heard it means instead of actually digging into why it means that thing. Horus was light. The seraphim in the Bible, orbs with wings, same thing. There's different ways of saying the same thing. So what does this have to do with the American eagle? Well, clearly they stole the symbol, but for a good reason. If you have not been living under a rock, you'll know that the Washington Monument is an obelisk, and inside of that obelisk, you can go inside and go to the top. To go up it, you take an elevator with G-Dub's face on it. But most people completely miss what's above his head. It is an Egyptian winged disc.
Freemasonry? Freemasons. I see it. You see it?
But do you know the connection? That is for another video. Every temple in Egypt has these strange skylights that let these beams of light shine in, and you can use them as a flashlight if you let them hit your hand. Now, the purpose of these is going to melt your mind, but first we have to understand how light and color works. The primary colors are red, green, and blue, just like Horus, the falcon representing the sun. Inside Egyptian temples, you're going to see cyan, magenta, and yellow all over the place. These are the secondary colors. These are the shadow colors, but when they interact, they do something magical. When the primary color mixes with its opposite secondary color, they cancel out, they disappear. Now, when you go into one of these temples, you'll notice that each room has one of these skylights, and they're shaped like a pyramid. And you can see the walls are covered head to toe in hieroglyphs. At specific times of the day and the year, the sun will point to a specific part of the wall. The type of paint and the angle of the light can reveal even more information in each room. It gets even deeper. Throughout the year, the sun traces a path that looks like an infinity sign. This would be impossible on a flat Earth because we're on a sphere, and the Egyptians knew this. Throughout the year, different colors of the visible spectrum become more dominant. If you're aware of this, information can be used or revealed at certain times of the year. Then you, the data packet, can do something with that information. This is what happens when you shine a laser through an optical sphere, right? This and this are the same thing. I went full nerd on this one, but you gotta watch this. If you got a beam of light, white light coming from the sun, and it goes into a water droplet, it will reflect back to you at an angle. That angle is the side angle of the Great Pyramid. But the pyramid has 8 sides. You can only see this in the shadows. The angle that makes those is the angle of a double rainbow. You can easily prove this if you have a glass sphere, you shine light through it, overlay the pyramid on top of that. That would be a coincidence if the Great Pyramid was not on the latitude of the speed of light itself. We all learned in school that you can make white light with red.
Wait, what? The pyramid is on the latitude of the speed of light. How in the fuck did they know what the speed of light is?
Green and blue. You can decompose that using a slit in a piece of paper. Phone displays use this to make every color that you see on your screen right now. But the shadows create cyan, magenta, and yellow, the same colors as the nekbet or vulture in Egypt. Our word horizon comes from Horus rising. Each day, Horus battles Set. That's where we get sunset. But
What? Wait a second. Sunset? Did you hear that? I'm only saying this because I didn't know this shit.
Same colors as the nekbet or vulture in Egypt. Our word horizon comes from Horus rising. Each day, Horus battles Set. That's where we get sunset. But in Egypt, Ra is the actual sun. Horus is the consciousness of sun on Earth. His temple is called Edfu. The text on the building is called the building text. The texts describe how the homeland of Horus got wiped out by a flood. Horus arrived in Egypt with his followers. They're called the Shemsu Hor. I think we're pretty clear that Horus is actually light. So the followers of Horus are called the Shining Ones, and there were 7 of them. This one's gonna mess you up. So you remember the Noah legend? He releases a white dove and gets a rainbow over the mountains peeking out of the waters after a flood. You know, I've known this, but I've never seen this before. This is what a rainbow actually looks like. They are fully circular. It's because the light hits those spheres and the way it reflects comes back to your eyeball, and if you're far enough away, you can see the full circle of the rainbow. So what does that have to do with those? Buckle up. This is what happens when you shine a light through a sphere, and this is kind of how we study optics. The light gets focused in a really specific way. And it has to do with phi, the golden ratio, of course. Now you see phi everywhere. You literally can't escape it. It's like a huge twisty storm all around you. It's even in your hand. The easiest way to get this dude is to use a pentagram. One of those lines intersected by another line gives you phi, the golden ratio. The pentagon can also express it in its rectangular form. If you use the length of the side and flop it and draw a line up from there, you make another square of the exact same proportion. You can do this for infinity. This is where the cool spiral comes from. The golden ratio is in everything beautiful. That's why the best architecture employs it and the greatest works of art have used it. That spiral is how you perceive perspective. You can only make perspective art if you know that. So now you know why it's in the sphere. Your eye is also a sphere. Regardless of measurement, the phi ratio is always the focal point of a perfect sphere. And that just so happens to be the same angle as the Great Pyramid. The interior of the Great Pyramid also has perfect optical geometry, which indicates a focal relationship between the different bands of light that those shafts are tuned to. If we check out a heat map of the Great Pyramid, you can easily see that this is the case. And it sits perfectly within a nice band of the ionosphere, ironically, all but confirming it uses the electromagnetic spectrum as well. We also know that passing high voltage through a pyramid shapes the discharge in a very specific way. How they did it, still a mystery. That crap is a distraction, don't worry about it. The juicy, interesting stuff is in the geometry.
Bro! What the fuck? What's up, Jessica Wood? What's goody? Who's up in here? What's good? What's good? Hell yeah, thank you for that. Each one of those gems is worth 1 penny. I'm pretty sure. At least I think that's how it is. I know stars on I know stars on Facebook work like that. Each star on Facebook is 1 penny that the viewers can give. So maybe I'm just translating it, I guess. Okay, guys. We got some stuff to do before we get into our last little clip. I really want to try my best to we're on page 68, dude. How much more we got for this introduction? Okay, we got 10 pages. 10 pages, we can knock it out, bro. And then we're out of the introduction on this book is The History of Magic. It was written in 1913. It's pretty crazy, bro. I like to read books. I like to learn stuff. Hopefully you all have learned a lot of stuff throughout your time hanging out with me. Not just today, but all the times in the future and all the times in the past. This is page 68 from the book History of Magic, written in 1913. By the same law of harmony in the analogy of opposites, the Kabbalists explain also all mysteries of sexual love. Why is this passion more permanent between two unequal natures and two contrary characters? Why is there in love one always who emulates and one who is the victim? Why is the most abstinent passions those the satisfaction of which would seem impossible? By this law also there would have decided once and forever the question of precedence between the sexes, as brought forward in all seriousness by the Saint Simonism of our own day. The natural strength of women being the inertia or the resistance, they would have ruled that modesty is the most imprescriptible of her rights, and hence that she must neither perform nor desire anything demanding a species of masculine boldness. Nature has otherwise provided to this end by giving her a soft voice, not to be heard in large assemblies. Now, they're saying heard, actually, as in not heard, but like herded like cattle. Nature has otherwise provided to this end by giving her a soft voice, not to be heard in large assemblies. Oh, maybe it is heard, actually. I was incorrect. My bad. Unless raised to a ridiculous discordant pitch. She who would aspire to the functions of the opposite sex must forfeit thereby their prerogatives of her own. We know now to what point she may arrive in the ruling of men, but it is certain, at least in the reaching, that she will lose the love of men, and that which will be more cruel for her and the love of children. The conjugal law of the Kabbalists furnishes further, by analogy, a solution of the most interesting and difficult problem of modern philosophy, being the agreement between reason and faith, authority and liberty, and the conscience, science, and belief. If science be the sun, belief is the moon, a reflection of day amidst night. Faith is the supplement of reason in the darkness left by science before and behind it. It emanates from reason, but can neither be confounded therewith nor bring it to confusion. The trespasses of reason upon faith, or of faith upon reason, are eclipses of moon or sun. When they come about, both source and reflector of light are rendered useless. Who's here? Can you guys just comment the word book if you guys are here with me? I like to read. I hope you like to read. Reading is how you exercise your brain. Hopefully me reading this book is interesting. Hopefully I don't lose you or it's boring to you to listen to me read. Hopefully I'm able to read it in such a way that it allows you to process it and comprehend it. I don't know what it's like to listen to me read, so that's the only reason I say that. I mean, I do hear it, but I understand it differently because I'm the one reading it. Maybe you're here along with me reading it as well. In order to sustain the edifice, the two pillars of the temple must be parallel and separate. When they are brought by force together as Samson brought them, they are thrown down and the whole building collapses on the blind zealot or revolutionary whose personal or national resentment has destined him beforehand to death. The struggles between the spiritual and temporal powers at all periods of humanity have been quarrels over domestic management. Domestic. The papacy has been a jealous mother seeking to supplant a husband in the temporal power. And she has lost the confidence of her children, while the temporal power is an absorption of the priesthood, is not less ridiculous than a man who should pretend to know better than a mother how to manage the home and nursery. In English, for example, from the moral and religious point of view, are like children swaddled by men, as we may appreciate by their spleen and dullness. We're almost there. We're almost through the introduction. Then we could get to the good stuff, bro. That will be on Monday's stream. We're going to read the introduction. I'm kind of lost. I'm trying my best to... I'm kind of lost. I kind of understand it. Obviously, I understand the words it's saying. If religious doctrine is comparable to a nurse's story on the understanding that the ingenious and beneficial morally, it is perfectly true for the child, and the father would be very foolish to contradict it. Give therefore to mothers a monopoly in tales of fairy, in songs of household solicitudes. Maternity is a type of the priesthood. Wait a second. That actually kind of speaks volumes to me. That one line, actually. Because throughout time, haven't the individuals who held the priesthood, before obviously priesthood was like a Mormon thing, I'm talking about like in the Catholic Church, for a man to hold the priesthood, he was a man of stature, a man of reputation, a man of, people knew who he was. So maternity, that means mothers. Maternity is a type of priesthood, meaning that they should be respected the same. And it is because the church must be a mother only to the Catholic priest, renounce the rights of man, and transfers in advance to herself to claim on fatherhood. It must never be forgotten that the papacy is either nothing or that it is the universal mother. Dang, the papacy, that's like the leaders of the church. It is either nothing or it is the universal mother. That's crazy, right? It may be even that Pope Joan, out of which Protestants have constructed a tale of scandal, is only an ingenuous allegory, and when sovereign pontiffs have ill-used emperors and kings, it has been that Pope Joan trying to beat her husband to the great scandal of the Christian world. Wait a second. Pope Joan? Is that Joan of Arc? Is Pope Joan and is Pope Joan and Joan of Arc the same person in the Catholic Church?
No, Pope Joan and Joan of Arc are not the same person. Pope Joan is considered a medieval legend, a story about a woman who allegedly disguised herself as a man, became pope, and was exposed when she supposedly gave birth during a procession. Most historians and the Catholic Church regard this tale as fictional. Joan of Arc, on the other hand, was a real historical figure, a French peasant girl born in 1412 who claimed to be guided by divine voices. She helped lead France to victories during the Hundred Years' War, was captured, tried, and burned at the stake in 1431. She was later declared.
Okay, so the weird thing is, though, is saying that this is a scandal, right? Pope Joan was not the great scandal that it was led on to be, that it was real, right? It wasn't a scandal. It wasn't. Are you guys reading that? Did you hear that? The church and the Protestantism speak evil one of another, lament one another, and make a show of avoiding and being weary of one another, like spouses living apart. It is by the Kabbalah, and this alone, that all is explained and reconciled. All other doctrines are verified and made fruitful thereby. It destroys nothing, but, on the contrary, gives reason to all that is. So all the forces of the world are at the service of this one and supreme science, while the true Kabbalist can make use at his pleasure, without hypocrisy and without falsehood, of the science possessed by the wise and the zeal of believers. Interesting. He is more Catholic than M.D. Mastery, more Protestant than Luther, more Jewish than the chief rabbi, and a prophet more than Mohammed. Is he not above systems and the passions which darken truth? Can he not at will bring together their scattered rays, so variously reflected in all the fragments of that broken mirror which is universal faith, fragments which are taken by men for so many opposite beliefs? There is one being, one law, one faith, as there is only one race of man. Wait a second. There's only one race of us? We're just humans? It's all just humans? On such intellectual and moral heights, it will be understood that the human mind and heart enter into the deep peace. Profound peace, my brethren, such was the master word of high-grade masonry, being the association of Kabbalistic initiates. The war which the church has been forced to make against magic was necessitated by the profanations of false Gnostics. But the truth science of the Magi is Catholic, essentially, basing all its realization on the heretic principle. Heretic? Now the only serious and absolute hierarchy is found in the Catholic Church, and hence true adepts have always shown for it the deepest respect and obedience. You're right, Julia. Henry Coonrath alone was a resolute Protestant, but in this he was a German of his period rather than a mystic citizen of the eternal kingdom. The essence of anti-Christianity is exclusion and hearsay. It is the partition of the body of Christ, according to the beautiful expression of St. John. Omnis separatis qui solvit Christium hic ante Christos este. What the fuck? You got me fucking casting spells over here. The reason is that religion is charity, and that there is no charity in anarchy. Magic had also its anarchists, its makers and adherents of sex, its thaumaturgists, and sorcerers. Our design is to vindicate the legality of the science from the absorptions of ignorance, fraud, and folly. It is in this respect more especially that our work will stand to be useful, as it will be entirely new. So far, the history of magic has been presented as annals of a thing prejudged, or as chronicles less or more exact of a sequence of phenomena, seeing that no one believed that magic belonged to science. A serious account of this science, in its rediscovery, so to speak, must set forth its developments or progress. we are walking in open sanctuary instead of among ruins, and we find that the holy places, so long buried under the debris of 4 civilizations, have been preserved more wonderfully than the mummified cities which excavation has unearthed. In all their dead beauty and desolate majesty beneath the lava of Vesuvius. Has anyone heard of Vesuvius? Where is and what is the lava of Vesuvius?
Mount Vesuvius is a somma stratovolcano located on the Gulf of Naples in Campania, Italy, about 9 kilometers east of Naples. The lava and rocks from Vesuvius are typically tephrite, which is a basaltic in character and contains minerals such as calcic plagioclase, augite, and nepheline or lucite.
Weird. Italy. Pompeii, okay. Basset, in his magnificent work, has shown us religion bound up everywhere with history. But what would he have said had he known that a science which, in a sense, was born with the world, provides an explanation of prime evil dogmas belonging to the one and universal religion in virtue of their combination with the most incontestable theorems of mathematics and reason? Dogmatic magic is the key of all secrets as yet unfathomed by the philosophy of history, while practical magic alone opens the secret temple of nature to that power of human which okay, let me say that again. Magic is the key of all secrets as yet unfathomed by the philosophy of history, while practical magic alone opens the secret temple of nature to that power of human will which is ever limited, yet ever progressive. We are far from any impious pretense of explaining the mysteries of religion by means of magic, but our intention is to indicate after what manner science is compelled to accept and revere those mysteries. It shall be said no longer that reason must humble itself in the presence of faith. On the contrary, it must do honor to itself by believing. Science, it is faith which saves reason from the horrors of the void on the brink of the abyss. And it is bond of union with the infinite. Orthodoxy in religion is respect for the hierarchy as the sole guardian of unity. Let us therefore not fear to repeat that magic is essentially the science of hierarchy, remembering clearly that before all thing else, it condemns anarchic doctrines, while it demonstrates by the very laws of nature that harmony is inseparable both from prayer and authority. The chief attraction of magic for the great number of curious persons is that they see therein an exceptional means for the satisfaction of their passions. The unbeliever's horizons is of the same order. Weird. My eyes are hurting from reading. We're fucking far away. We got fucking 5 pages left. The avaricious would deny that there is any secret of Hermes corresponding to the transmutation of metals, for otherwise they would buy it and enjoy wealth. But they are fools who believe that such a secret is sold. Of what use would be money to those who could make gold? That is true, says the skeptic. But if you, Euliphus Levy, possessed it, Would you not be richer than you are? Who has told you that I am poor? Have I asked for anything at your hands? Where is the sovereign in the world who can boast that he has acquired from me any secret of science? Where is the millionaire whom I have given reason to believe that I would set my fortune against his? When we look at earthly wealth from beneath it, we may yearn for it as the sovereign felicity, but it is despised when we consider it from above. And when one realizes how little temptation there can be to recover that which has been dropped at as if it were a hot iron. But apart from this, a young man will exclaim that if magical secrets were true, he would attain them at that he might be loved by all women. Nothing of the sort. A day will come, poor child, when it will be too much to be loved by one of them. For sensual desire is a dual orgy, the intoxication of which causes disgust to supervene quickly, after which anger and separation follow. There was once an old idiot who would have liked to have become a magician in order to upset the world. But if you were a magician, my hero, would you not be an imbecile? And before the tribunal of your conscience, would you find no extenuating circumstances? Did you become a criminal? Interesting, bro. The Epicurean on his part demands the recipes of magic, that he may enjoy forever and suffer nothing at all. In this case, the science itself intervenes and says, as religion also says, blessed are those who suffer. But that is the reason why the Epicurean lost faith in religion. Blessed are those who mourn. But the Epicurean scoffs at a promise. Hear now what is said by experience and by reason. Suffering tests and awakens generous sentiments. Pleasures promote and fortify base instincts. Suffering arm against pleasure. Enjoyment begets weakness in suffering. Pleasure squanders. Pain engarners. Pleasure is man's rock of peril. The pain of motherhood is a woman's triumph. Where's all my moms at? Let me get some hearts in the chat. The pain of motherhood is a woman's triumph. Thank you for the gifted sub, Lacey Lane. Thank you. Pleasure fertilizes and conceives, but pain brings forth. Marie Moon, thank you, Lacey Lane. Thank you so much for the gifted subs. Let me read that again. Pleasure is a man's rock of peril. The pain of motherhood is a woman's triumph. Pleasure fertilizes and conceives, but pain brings forth. Woe to him who cannot and will not suffer. He shall be overwhelmed by pain. Nature drives unmercifully those who will not walk. We are cast into life as into an open sea. We must swim or drown. Fuck, dude. Fire, bro. Fire, bro. Put her in her room. My dog's barking crazy upstairs. Okay. Thank you for that, Melissa. I didn't know what an Epicurean was. An Epicurean. Lacey Lane in here just gifting subs, bro. Just in here gifting subs, Lacey. Thank you. I like that line right there. Nature drives unmercifully those who will not walk. We are cast into life as into an open sea. You either swim or drown. Such are the laws of nature as taught by transcendent magic. And now reconsider whether one can become a magician in order to enjoy everything and suffer nothing. Yet the world will ask, in such case, what profits magic? What would the prophet Balaam have replied to his Shias had the patient brute asked him what profits intelligence. What would Hercules have answered to a pygmy if he had inquired what profits strength? We do not compare worldly people to pygmies, and still less to Balaam's ass. It would be wanting in politeness and good taste. We say, therefore, with all possible graciousness, to such brilliant and amiable people, that for them magic is absolutely useless. It being understood further that they will never take it seriously. Our work is addressed to souls that toil and think. They will find an explanation therein of whatsoever has remained obscure in our doctrine and ritual, on the pattern of great masters who have followed the rational order of sacred numbers in the plane and division of our works, for which reason the history of magic is arranged in 7 books, having 7 chapters in each. The first book is dedicated to the sources of magic. It is the genesis of that science, and we have provided it with a key in the letter Aleph, expressing Kabbalistically the original and primal unity. The second book contains historical and social formula of the magical world in antiquity. Its seal is the letter of Beth, symbolizing the duad as an expression of the word which realizes the special character of the gnosis and occultism. The third book is concerned with the realization of antique science in Christian society. It shrews after what matter, even for science itself, the word takes flesh. The number 3 of that generation of realization and the key of this book is the letter Gemel, a hieroglyph of birth. We are introduced in the 4th book to the civilizing power of magic among barbarous races, to the natural productions of this science amongst people still in their childhood, to the mysteries of druids and their miracles, to the legends of bards, and it is strewn after what manner these things occurred in the formation of modern societies, thus preparing a brilliant and permanent victory for Christianity. The number 4 expresses nature and force, while the letter Daleth, which stands for it in the Hebrew alphabet, is represented in that of the Kabbalist by the emperor on his throne. The 5th book is consecrated to the sacerdotal era of the Middle Ages, and we are present at the dissensions and struggles of science, the formation of secret societies, their unknown achievements, the secret rites of grimoires, the mysteries of the Divine Comedy. That's interesting, Divine Comedy. Would you say that there is some divine essence when it comes to humor and comedy? Like when you laugh, they always say laughter is the best medicine. Well, would it actually make more sense to you that maybe laughter is medicine if laughter and making people laugh and comedy has like some divine connection? That's just a thought. The divisions within the sanctuary, which must lead later on to a glorious unity. The number 5 is that of the quintessence religion and the priesthood. Its character is the letter He, represented in the magical alphabet by the symbol of the high priest. The 6th book exhibits the intervention of magic in the work of revelation. The number 6 is that of antagonism and strife in preparation for universal synthesis. Wait a second. What about 666 then? If this book is talking about the Kabbalah, right, and the Kabbalistic belief system, the number 6 is that of antagonism and strife in preparation for universal synthesis. Revolution? It's a revolution, not a revelation? Revolution, you're right. The magic in the work of revolution. So it's like causing stirring shit up, revolting. Weird. And the corresponding letter is thou, symbol of the creative lingam and the reaper's sickle. That's kind of devilish. The reaper's sickle. Weird. 666. The seventh book is synthetic, containing an exposition of modern workings and discoveries, new theories on light and magnetism, the revelation of the great Rosicrucian secret, the explanation of mysterious alphabets, the science of the world and its magical works in fine, the summary of the science itself, including the appreciation of what has been accomplished by contemporaneous mystics. This book is the complete and the crown of the work, as the serpentary is the crown of numbers, uniting the triangle of idea to the square of form. Its corresponding letter is Zain, and the Kabbalistic hieroglyphic is a victor mounted on a chariot drawn by two sphinxes. Far from us be the ridiculous vanity of posing as a Kabbalistic victor. It is the science alone which should triumph, and that which we expose before the intelligent world mounted on the cubic chariot and drawn by sphinxes is the word of light, the divine fulfiller of the Mosaic Kabbalah, the human son of the gospel, that man God who has come since as Savior and will manifest soon as Messiah, that is as definitive as absolute king of temporal institutions. It is this that which animates our courage and sustains our hope, but now it remains to submit all our conceptions, all our discoveries, and all our labels as infallible judgment of hierarchy. To the authorized man of science be that which belongs to science, but the things which connect with religion are set apart. To the church alone and to that one hierarchic church, the preserver of unity, which has been Catholic, apostolic, and a Roman from the days of Jesus Christ to our own. Christ Jesus to our own. To scholars, our discoveries; to bishops, our aspirations and beliefs. Woe to the child who believes himself wiser than his parents, to the man who acknowledges no masters, to that dreamer who thinks and prays for himself. Life is an universal communion, and in such communion do we find immortality. He who isolates himself is given over to death, thereby in the eternity of isolation would be eternal death. Damn, Gina! Dang, dude! Crazy, bro. Crazy shit. Can we get fires in the chat if you're here, bro? Fires up in the chat, bro. I like to read. It's hard to read these old ass books, bro. I'm telling you, I don't read freaking older English. It's written in a therefore and be it is and thereafter. You know, it's crazy, bro. Thank you guys for hanging out while I just did a little bit of reading. I'd rather just do it now in this little segment than try and be like, hey, do you want to do a book club? Even though a book club would be cool. But let's just get right back into Matthias. We got like an hour left. We got like an hour left of this little shits. Let's get right up in here.
Every single category, from our water and all of the different things that we put in our water supply to all the different things that we try to prop up as good food versus bad food. I mean, the corruption has become universal as empire has seeped deeper and deeper into culture across the board. So this conversation is a broad conversation, and actually I'm working on a book with Dr. John Churchill, who you guys got to be with. It's called From Empire to Kingdom. And a big part of the book, From Empire to Kingdom, is about rewriting and remembering all of these old stories. And some of which, you know, we go out in this tangent about food because it's related. Ceremony is related to food, but it's also beyond food, of course. And, you know, so many of the things that we even do here are part of a remembering process about how we can take our power back and use that power to take energy and convert that energy and emotion into matter. So if you, yeah.
Sorry. No.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's just that usually we separate the concept of stars and food, like if they are two different things, but actually the plants grow because of the light of the sun, because of the cycle of the moon. So according to the position of the planet or how the light enter the planet, every plant has a different information. Every seed has a potential related to the light that came from the skies.
You guys picking up what he's laying down? Okay, let's have a little thought experiment, Perplexity.
Sure thing. I love thought experiments. What topic or scenario do you have in mind?
Okay, let's just imagine if we were to be able to gather all of the seeds that are necessary to feed the humans. Okay?
All right, I'm picturing gathering a massive variety of seeds, grains like wheat and rice, legumes, vegetables, fruits, nuts.
No, like the total on planet Earth. Can you please provide me a percentage of how many of those seeds are modified in any capacity by a human?
I looked up some current information. Globally, about 209 million hectares of genetically modified GM crops are grown, which is a substantial portion of total crop acreage. For major crops like corn and soybeans, GM varieties account for roughly 80 to 90% of the market. However, not all crops are GM. Many seeds are also hybrid or selectively bred, techniques that humans have used for centuries. While exact global percentages vary, for staple crops like corn, soy, and cotton, the vast majority of seeds have been modified by human intervention, whether through genetic engineering or traditional breeding. So for those major crops, we might be talking about 80 to 90% of seeds being human modified, and for other crops, the percentage is lower.
80 to 90% of all seeds used on planet Earth are genetically modified? It's in the food, bro. They're destroying our souls with the food, bro.
So they wouldn't be able to grow without the light of the stars. And when you have that power in the plant and you eat it, you're not eating a plant, you're eating the sun. You're eating the bright of the sun materialize into something here. So that's why if you're following God in the skies, the best way to becoming God is eating it. You know, so
Woo! Wait a second, bro. Wait a second. Okay, we're making connections to like earth food, right? Connections to like food that comes from the earth. You could say animals, sure. You could say meats. Everybody has their preference if they're eating meat or fish or red meat or whatever it may be. But for this, I'm talking specifically plant food, right? Like, you know, you should be eating foods that don't necessarily have commercials for. You don't see commercials for salads. Okay? But so let him run that back again, because what he just said, bro, was bars. And if you believe it's bars, I need you to blow the chat up with fire emotes, bro.
without the light of the stars. And when you have that power in the plant and you eat it, you're not eating a plant, you're eating the sun. You're eating the bright of the sun materialize into something here. So that's why if you're following God in the skies, the best way to becoming God is eating it. You know, so that's why the food is basically that God inside. And something that that I think that there are people doing it again, could be a little bit disgusting, but also very powerful, which is that before they sow the seeds, they nourish the seeds with their own saliva. And the reason why is because the seed incorporates your DNA. And when it absorbs your DNA, the light of the sun, the cycles of the moon, your DNA from within, in a plant, it all combines together to create medicine for yourself. So right now we are basically eating the medicine of Monsanto, which is maybe a guy spitting in all our seeds. I don't think they spit on it.
Well, it's not even something that
would be more human.
It's a human. Well, a human is at least, you know.
Did you hear what he said? You take a plant, a seed, you put it in your mouth. That seed absorbs your DNA. You plant that seed. That seed is nurtured by the sun and the moon and the earth and the water, etc. That plant grows to become medicine for you because it is made up genetically of your DNA.
Comes from creation. These are genetically modified seeds.
Mm-hmm.
These are something that is against what nature could actually produce. So we're actually getting further and further away from sacred life and sacred world the more that we modify what nature has actually created. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't have the right as human beings to create modifications, to come up with cool things that can be helpful, and use our creativity to make more possibility, of course. But it all comes with great caution and a price that we potentially have to pay, especially when we start tampering and tinkering with food and the energetics of the food that we have.
And related to this idea of, well, it has protein, it has this calories or these kind of things, like science, the word science means to cut. So cut in pieces something that is together. So from the very origin, science was not science, it was alchemy. So alchemy is the word al-chem, which is an Arab word to describe the unity of things. And so when we didn't do just science, we did alchemy, we understood that when we eat something or mix something, we are pulling together the forces that have been created in the very origin of the universe. And when we do that, we transform them into something new for our integration of that universe. But today, with just science, they cut the pieces of the universe and they tell you, this is right. So this is the perfect thing. Like, if you have these calories, if you have this sugar, these things, the combination of that is good. But there is something missing, which is the alchemy. Not just the chemistry, just alchemy. The alchemy basically is, what is the purpose of this together? What is the intention of that within me? What does it mean for me outside? So what will it mean for me within? So that missing part is the spirituality. But when we cut spirituality and science in different ways, science dedicate their life to cut everything and not giving importance to the ceremony or to the pattern. In the past, for example, when people got together.
Wait a second. Are you guys, is anybody up in here? It almost seems as if Matthias is in a different way saying what we just read when it comes to magic, at least, or you could say alchemy, I guess, right? He's almost talking about the separation or the need for control that science has. Is that just me? I mean, maybe I'm just the only one hearing it, but
Together to eat, they later celebrate. And one of the main celebrations was actually a ritual in which women and men were spinning around to each other. Doesn't remind you about the stars, about how they spin, how they turn. So basically, the first dancings that we experienced as a ceremony was us spinning in our own axis, like the planet does, like the moon does, and then spinning around each other, which is like the moon around the sun, around the earth around the sun. So every movement and every step that we gave marked a time. So through food and the celebration, we activated a way in which we became those things. So when we just in history, when people started to go against spirituality and we just went to science, we just have the pieces but not the meaning of the whole thing. And that meaning is when we set an intention or a purpose on it. And And we can of course explain that what science is explaining is real, but the reality is not just the third dimension. There are many options of that reality that gives the purpose of all of it together. And that's the part of spirituality that creates alchemy from science. And I think that giving the power back to our calendar related to our food gives the power of creation and transformation for us to create our own medicine, not looking for the medicine that others do, but to eat our own medicine.
I know there's got to be some humans out there that resonate with that. Eating and making your own medicine versus taking medicine from another person or institution or doctor, pharmaceutical company. I mean, because it's not just the food. Imagine if your food was also medicine. Where the fucking agricultural industrial complex and the pharmaceutical industrial complex disappear. Trillion dollar industries. They disappear overnight because you have taken your power back to what you eat and the intent you have behind it, and your food becomes medicine. Like, imagine, like, really take a second to think about that. Your food becomes medicine. It's profound.
There's a way in which just by the saliva on the seed, you program your medicine for the future, or also drinking your tears. Your own tears have a chemical structure, a composition that is specifically designed to drop into your mouth. So when you cry about something, the structure of the water, like the composition and the pattern of the water, changes according to what you need in that moment to heal it. So licking seeds and drinking tears it's a way to make alchemy.
Drinking tears, bro. That's kind of cool to hear it like that. That chemically, the structure of your tears is exactly what you need in that moment to calm down. It's kind of crazy to think about, bro. But if you've ever like super cried, you know what I mean? Right down to the corners of your mouth. Crazy.
So we're going to be doing breath work on Saturday, and that's tomorrow. And there's going to be probably a lot of tears. This is a time breath work often brings up a lot of tears. And so here's a simple, all right, we're getting a bit philosophical, but we're going to start getting practical.
I think we're going to do some breath work today in the kick stream. If you guys want to do some breath work at the end of the stream on Kick, aliens in the chat.
Here. So if you can remember, and we'll have people guiding you, and to take this knowledge, this forgotten knowledge that we're remembering, and those tears come, to understand that those tears, and we've actually started to be able to measure the different times and different tears have different things. Science has already made the step to try and figure that out, but they still don't understand the purpose. But now, this is a revelation for me as well. Why don't you just take those tears and, steer them into your mouth, however you can manage that.
But your own, don't lick the face of the
Don't
others.
lick the face of somebody else. You might get a different medicine that you're not actually looking for. I get high off somebody else's tears. So there's these simple things that, once we remember, and also, there's different studies that have shown about how your attitude towards food changes the way that your body responds towards food. And I wrote about a lot of these in my book, Own the Day.
Do any of you guys resonate with that? Because I know I do for sure. My response and how I treat food, it definitely reacts and does different things inside of my body. Do you know You ever thought about like why people used to like pray before they eat? It's turned into like this ritualistic, like, thank you, God, please give me this, please bless us, please this, please that. But it probably originated all the way back when people would just like speak to their food and say, thank you. I know you're going to give me so much nutrients, because they're also admiring the hard work of themselves or a loved one to get the food onto the table. They were actually grateful for the food, you know, like genuinely grateful that the food was in front of them. It definitely has to do something different to your body. Just like if you've had someone that, like maybe your spouse or your mom, they make food for you, and you definitely can tell the difference when love is an ingredient. When love is the ingredient, it tastes better. It feels better. It fills you up better, bro. If you resonate, poop emojis. Because I feel like when I changed my relationship to food, what food does for me changed drastically.
But there's more and more that come out all the time. You know, and some of these have to do with the placebo effect. Like they gave 2 different groups the same smoothie. They told one group that the smoothie was really healthy, and then watched all of their blood markers and their blood sugar and everything and measured it. And then they told another group, this is the most decadent McFlurry Dairy Queen type of smoothie. This is bad for you. And then measured their blood, and it was a totally different response. So our attitude towards food makes something completely different. So if you have an attitude like, you know, let's say you're just stuck in a place and the only spot you got is McDonald's, and you're like, fuck it, I need to eat a Big Mac. Well, granted, that has some things in it that are going to be probably working against you. But if you are eating that and every bite you take is like poison, 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 it's going to accelerate and accentuate the poison of that food you eat. And that could be with sugar, that could be with gluten, that could be with anything else. There's another famous study of...
Wait a second. You're telling me that if you know what you're eating is poison, that it's more poisonous for you? Fuck. That's bad. That's bad news, bears. If you know you're eating poison and you eat it anyways, and then you think about how poisonous the food is for you after you've already eaten it, the poison is going to poison you more. Wild.
Somebody with split personality disorder. And this person with split personality disorder had 12 distinct personalities. And you can look all this up. 12 distinct personalities. 11 of them were wildly allergic to orange juice. Wildly allergic. Would drink orange juice, break out in hives. Right? Almost anaphylactic levels. But one of the personalities loved orange juice. And he could drink the shit out of that orange juice and be totally fine. Like the power of our mind to be able to actually alchemically adjust what's actually happening energetically in our body. This is not woo-woo. This is actually real. This is fully real and been proven by the scientific method, by these different case studies. So we can be sloppy or lazy with our thoughts and our beliefs and our mind, but putting that intention into our water, into our food, and just taking the time to do that will literally change our energetic body, which will literally change our lives. So there's simple things that you can do, and then there's more complex things you can do, like when we were in that temple in Egypt, and you created one of these different constellations where you put Vailana and I in the center, and then you got a group of 3 men and 3 women to rotate around us one way, and then you had electrons moving the other way, and you orchestrated this whole thing, and I had the most powerful activation of my life inside this temple. Well, that's a little bit more complicated, but ultimately rediscovering these technologies then can help us with even more powerful rituals and manifestations. So there's the individual things you can do, like with your tears and with your food and with your beliefs and with your thoughts. And then there's the even more powerful, complicated rituals that Matthias also remembers that can actually create even bigger activations. And I was there to experience that.
Weird stuff. So yeah, basically basically our body does this all the time. We are all the time creating rituals and structures within our body every time a molecule gets together with another molecule, and they create a compound, chemical reaction.
I appreciate you, Justin. We got a follower for years up in here. I appreciate you, bro. I hope you're doing all right.
That activates a hormone, and the hormone makes us feel happy, maybe. And it was just a combination of things that you might think they don't feel, but they make you feel. So, through the division of spirituality and science, we started to think that the only thing that is active in our reality is the physical thing. So you have to analyze that. But the mindset to give power to that organization, we left it behind because it's impossible to prove scientifically. It's only...
Just 1 second.
Spiritual or feeling. But as I was saying, every ritual or ceremony had more power over the food and changed the perception, or we were saying, on how you can be healthier.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Hi.
Cletus is saying hello. He's grabbing me some coffee.
Or more connected, related to how you set your intention in it. So in the same way as these particles in our body get together to activate a hormone that we will call love, or we will call happiness, joy, and these kind of things that we usually tend to relate to the soul and not to the body. We, in this planet Earth, if we see how tiny we are actually like molecules of this planet. So you can do the same for the entire world and the entire planet if you create the right combination as the molecules do in your own body. So for that, you have to think that there's always someone that will represent a proton, someone that will represent a neutron, someone that will represent an electron. And if you put the right amount of electrons around a proton, or two protons together and one neutron, and you start to create a molecule, an atom that creates another molecule, and so on. So that is so powerful that can create joy in a lot of people.
Wait. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he basically just said and broke down individual humans representing neutrons, electrons, and protons, and then said based on the amount of those, each individual's, the electron, neutron, or proton in a group can activate energy and create a molecule, which then would replicate into another molecule, which then would create matter. That's kind of insane to really think about, right?
Like a chemical reaction. So it's just because we organize in a way that we sometimes forget. Every time that we get together into ceremonies, into kind of these talks, we are interacting to one another. We talk with certain people, and certain others we don't like. Yeah? So maybe a lot of protons together will create a toxic environment. So I'd rather not be there. So you feel repelled to some people and connected to some other people, and you start basically creating an atom every time that you sit together and start to talk to each other, and you interact to one another about something. You are exchanging energy, which is the same thing that an electron does with a proton. And if you do that with a specific purpose, and not just thinking that it's just I'm here because I like these people, but you organize the pattern in a specific way, you activate a specific hormone in the body of Earth. So as many people are aware on how to connect to each other and creating the specific patterns, you can create a change in what is happening around. And what we did there, for example, we were trying to create the Merkaba, which Merkaba, spiritually talking, it's a vehicle for the spirit, but in here is actually a molecule. So when we create a Merkaba, you need 3 electrons and 3 protons spinning around, which means positive and negative, or if you like, 3 women, 3 men, to be more human, spinning around 1 neutron and 1 proton. So it could be also a woman and a man. So if those are in the center and they feel the movement of these energies around, one's going to the right, the other one's going to the left, you start to create physically a Merkaba. And it's not your own, it's a group Merkaba. And you start to feel the energy moving around. And suddenly, without thinking about it, other electrons start to join. Like what happened in the temple. People just had no idea what was happening, but suddenly, without thinking, they start to spin around. It's like you don't have to think or believe in it. You just get drawn to it. And you start to feel that something is happening, and you start to live the process of it. And some people might feel sad, and others might feel happy. That's what we call the waves of positive and negative. But we humanize the whole thing, and we might say, I don't feel this was good because I felt sad, but actually it's because you were representing the lower vibe of that, which is necessary too. Someone needs to be sad to compensate the happy, to create a link of energy, because the movement of energy is positive and negative. If everyone is happy, no movement. We call it a toxic environment. Too many protons together. But also, that's why when we get together, someone needs to enter in a process, the process of going down, and the others help the process of going up. And that's how the waves are moved. So, what
Bro, is that hitting anybody else to your core, bro? I don't know. I just felt like he was spitting bars right there. And in a roundabout way, I just felt like he was saying that positive energy and negative energy are all necessary, because if we didn't have all of it, there would be no energy output at all, you know, like he said. It's, I don't know, it just seems profound to me.
What we usually did in ceremonies was to locate these kind of things. But then the science of spirituality came and separated, okay, women in one side, men in the other. You are supposed to be negative, you are supposed to be positive. And we separated the whole thing, creating duality and not a circuit of energy. So even in spirituality, we started to make science, which is division on the parts. So that also made us lose the power of the feminine side of each man and the masculine side of each woman to calibrate this power that we have on creation. And so that's why, for example, in many of my gatherings, I act like saying, okay, these people will represent this, and together with these other people, we have to spin in one specific direction, the other one's in the other direction. We have to shape this geometry, we have to do this, we have to do that, because it's all like a machine of biological structure in the planet that helps us move powerful energies around. As many gather and do these specific spinnings lower energy, higher energy, all together, it starts to actually potentiate the energy of a net that is resounding in the same frequency. So in order to start coordinating these energies, you at least need 3 people. It's the law of 3. The law of 3 is the one that will guide where the energy is going to move through.
3's in the chat. 3's in the chat.
Towards or from. So
we're starting to get into now manifestation practices.
Oh, yeah.
So how you take a ritual like this, as we were talking about, the one that we did in the Temple of Dendra was a spiritual activation practice. And so that's one purpose for one of these rituals. And again, also Matthias is saying and people just know what to do. Well, some people don't know what to do. Some people tried to join the circle of the 3 men and 3 women, and Matthias would just point at them and go, out. Out. like no one was gonna fuck with the geometry of what he had to do. And people are like, what do you mean? I'm just trying to play along. He's like, no, you out.
You spin around.
Yeah, you spin
I remember
around.
you spin around.
Yeah. And then people are like, oh, okay. So ultimately, the geometry is important to hold, and so there has to be that discretion there to actually activate the rituals. So there's rituals that you could do for those type of activations. There's rituals that you could do for healing. But again, that specific one, just to break it down again, man and woman, masculine and feminine, myself and Vailana, 3 men and 3 women spinning. And then there was electrons that were crisscrossing, 1 man, 1 woman crisscrossing around the outside. And then eventually other electrons did form in this kind of crisscrossing pattern. And that's what created that magical ritual. So now we're going to take that. So that's one purpose for a magical ritual, that you could time with different, sacred elements of the sacred calendar, different times that you could create this. And then of course weaving in food. And so we're giving kind of like an open sourced model to create your own rituals. And of course learn from the rituals that many of the people who are connected to the land and who'd practice this, could understand. But now as he's moving into this rule of 3, we're going to talk about manifestation practices and really get into, all right, well, let's say, how do you want to manifest something? And of course, probably all of us have some type of manifestation practice, but oftentimes it's a practice you do by yourself. And that's not nearly as powerful as what Matthias is going to describe with his rule of 3.
So, as we said, when we have been talking before, you can interpret that when people get together in a specific pattern, you create the structure of a machine, of an energetical machine. But for that, you need fuel. The fuel is the negative, that we call food. And the purpose is the positive, that we call stars. So the light of the stars, sun, moon also, coming down from the positive to the negative, creates the food that makes the fuel for the structure to move. So that's the positive and the negative in our daily life. We have some sun, and then we eat what the sun produced. And in the middle, we do our stuff. So when we organize specifically that stuff related to a specific position of the positive, which is in a specific moment of the year with a certain position of the stars, that gives a specific food for that task that we need to ingest in order to calibrate our machine. And then we position the structure specifically as we are supposed to relate it to that moment. So we start to create something we call manifestation. And in order for that, you need the law of 3. The positive, the negative, and the neutral. The law of 3 basically says that you need always 3 things at least in order to manifest whatever. So it's good to have someone in charge of the negative, someone in charge of the positive, and someone in charge of the neutral.
So you gloomy motherfuckers, you have a sacred purpose. Thank you.
Yeah. So when you are, because we have divided everything into good and bad, we tend to believe that negative is bad. But negative means the one that pulls all the energies to the ground to hold them. So it's basically the feminine side of reality, because receives the energy and produce something with it. Let's say a baby, for example. So it receives all the energies and produces something new from that. That's the negative, going within to interpret something that was outside and give it a mean inside. That was the feminine aspect, which is the negative, attracting that. The positive is the one that expands. Something that is within goes outside and expands. So that's more the masculine aspect of the energy. And the neutral energy is the one that can hold both of them, but doesn't move the other two. Like, it's just the middle point that creates a bridge or a balance between those two forces. So the masculine side, the positive, doesn't go far away, and the negative doesn't go very deep. So the neutral is the one that basically interact to one another, so they remember that they need one another. Okay, that's the neutral. So the law of three says that when you have three people, each one of them representing this structure, you start to create a bridge between what is in another dimension, in the stars, to what is in this reality on Earth. And you, by neutrality, create something new from both of it. And because we have been divided, we either want to go to the light or want to go to the earth. And we kind of start to fight against science, religion, men and women. So this kind of things that are dividing us all the time, when we need a neutral aspect to balance all that, to actually create what we call a toroid, or the magnetical field, which is everything that goes up must go down again, everything that goes down must go up again, and it creates a constant circuit of electrical and magnetical energies. So when you have these three aspects, you are creating an electromagnetical field, which means that the energy is not lost in the positive, neither kept in the negative. Both are creating a constant circuit of, I have to go away, yeah, but come back to me. And what is in me, I have to share it. So that constant frequency of this constant movement of the energy creates an exchange that manifests, and that brings everything that is subtle in other realities into the physical shape. We call manifestation to this process, not attraction. That's another thing, completely different. Attraction is to pull something towards you. Atraczo. So traccionar is to track something. Okay, so attract is basically you will attract whatever is resounding with you. If you are resounding in this way, you will attract what is in your own frequency. So that's why attraction, the law of attraction, never works as specifically as we expect, because maybe we attract things from our thoughts, but not with our actions. So because we are not coherent in the law of attraction, most of the people cannot actually attract something.
He said coherence, and I got chills, bro. He said it perfect. Most people attract with their thoughts, but not also with their actions. In order to be coherent, your thoughts and your actions have to be aligned. It's powerful, bro. Because a lot of people out there are either living in one and not the other. They're either living in their actions and their thoughts are not how they're behaving on both sides. Actually, it's all the same thing now that I'm thinking about it. When your thoughts, your intentions, and your actions are all in alignment, you're a superhuman, bro.
Okay, so that's So we have to be coherent first in order to attract something. In the law of manifestation, you don't attract anything. You have to create it yourself. The word manifesto means a party with your hands. Is the Latin word mani, hands, festo, party. So what is manifestation? Is when your both hands get together in your heart to mold something with mud. So the idea of making clay figures, which is how humans were created, they say. So, because you put both hands together, two opposite things, left and right, together in order to, from the heart, create something. So it's art, basically. What you are doing is art. The manifestation means to create something from your heart.
Bars. I need fire in the chat, bro. Fuck, dude. That shit, I'm telling you, have any of you guys got chills, bro? I'm getting chills repeatedly, bro. So profound, bro.
With your own hands, with your own action. So in order to manifest, you need three aspects. One negative in your left, one positive in your right, and one neutral in your heart. When you have this, you have the right that says, I have to do that, the left that says, I need these materials to do it, and the heart that says, this is my intention. So when you put all that together, you start to shape a reality. So that's why when you are alone, you have to think that you are also three. Three in this position, vertical, which is what I think, what I feel, and what I do. That's the trinity of coherence. These three needs to be aligned. And the other one, which is horizontal, is what I receive, what I give, and what I intend in the center. So,
bro, did he just describe a cross, bro? Or maybe the Ankh? Seems crazy, bro. I'm going to run that back and let it play one more time.
And what I do, reality.
What?
So that's
Okay,
why
put the dogs away. He's just fixing the door.
the left that says, I need these materials to do it, and the heart that says, this is my intention. So when you put all that together, you start to shape a reality. So that's why when you are alone, you have to think that you are also three. Three in this position, vertical, which is what I think, what I feel, and what I do. That's the trinity of coherence. These three needs to be aligned. And the other one, which is horizontal, is what I receive, what I give, and what I intend in the center. So you create something here that is called the cross. So that's the real cross that we have been all talking about, that is equinoxes and solstices. The planet does constant manifestation because the planet is dancing in a specific circle, going through this cross all the time. So it is so balanced in this cross that it creates life constantly. But because we are disconnected from that cross outside, so therefore we are disconnected from it within, we are not able to create or manifest. So you have a circle, which is yourself, and the cross of manifestation, from the spirit to the ground and from yourself to the others. Vertical, horizontal, and that's what also you shape as the medicine wheel, okay, where you can actually create your own things, your own medicine. So you can you can start doing it with yourself, thinking if you are coherent with everything that you think, that you feel, and yet that you do. Once you have these three in coherence, coherence means a heritage that you share. That's the origin of the word. A heritage that you share, which means what I have received from my mind, I share it with my heart. What I have received from my heart, I share it with my body. So that's coherence. And once we have that, we have to understand if everything that I received, I am given equally, and everything that I'm given, I'm receiving equally. So I have a perfect intention. Intention means to be in constant tension. And constant tension for our world is like, it's terrible. But actually, a chord in a guitar doesn't sound if there's no tension. So the perfect tuning for something needs tension. So you have to have the strings very well tight in order for the sound to be perfect. So that intention is not, I would like for that to be, that's the mistake in the mind. We perceive that intention means to put the intention that something would happen. And every time that you believe that, the universe creates always something in the future. Because I would love for that to be this thing. So the universe says, okay, I will create would love to, would. So it creates a constant would that it never happened. Okay? So you have to, intention means when these two coherents are aligned to each other. And they are tied to each other. So they resound perfectly. That would mean. So here you have the law of three in vertical, the law of three in horizontal. On the three in vertical is what you think, what you feel, what you do. The law of three in horizontal is what you receive, what you give, and what you intend. What is your intention? So that would be the main thing. And so there you can understand that you can be the creator of your own reality by putting in action what you feel and what you think. But that is for your own creation. That is for your own thing. And in order to do that, you should never speak with your language in past sentence or future sentence. For the heart to be able to manifest needs always to be in present sentence.
Woo! Your language needs to be in present tense because the present moment is the only place that exists, and that's where divinity lives. Fire, bro.
That's the power of time, of the cycles. When you talk in present sentence, the universe will always create present, not possibilities in the future or structures in the past.
There's another important aspect of that. When you're placing something in the future, I want this in the future, you're actually reifying, which is a fancy word to say making real. You're making real that in the present, it's not real, right? Like, I want this thing, Lamborghini. Well, you're just reinforcing the fact that you don't have one now, right? Like, I want this healing in the future. Well, you're just reinforcing that you're sick right now, right? So there's a subtle subconscious way that when you place something in the future, you're actually making real the lack of what you're experiencing in the present, which is why the most powerful manifestation practices or visualization practices are to place yourself in a position where that thing, even if it is a future thing, it's real now. So when I was in the locker room with Jake Paul and I was guiding a visualization for him winning his fight against Nate Diaz, we anchored in that moment to a moment where he walked back in that locker room and we both screamed at each other the left hook because we had a vision and shared vision that he was going to knock Nate to the canvas with a left hook. So we were like, right now, imagine that feeling, feel that feeling right now. You walk through that door, you see my smiling face, and we both scream at each other the left hook, and then we hug each other. And we get to that moment, And I actually forgot that we did that, but then he walks back in the locker room and there's a photo of it that he posted on his Instagram of us screaming at each other, the left hook. And it happened exactly as it did, but it didn't happen, imagine that you will in the future, in this kind of neutral, non-emotional place. No, we made it real in that moment, and we were smiling and feeling that thing happen as if it was already done, as if it was happening there in that moment. And that's the real power that comes from this and this is all, if anybody's been to any of Joe Dispenza's workshops, that's it. You make that healing real. You're healed now. You feel the healing as a present tense experience, which then creates the present future reality that you're actually looking to build. So this is a subtle distinction, but it's incredibly important, and actually one of the most essential things when you're trying to manifest anything. And another thing, another law of three that Matthias shared was that when you're thinking about this, and you want to make this more powerful, think about at least 3 other people that this thing you desire will benefit. So one of the things I want to do, which,
Bro, that's a crazy practical thing, bro. How crazy is that he just said that, dude? When you're doing this manifestation stuff, create the law of 3 by thinking of at least 3 other people or 2 other people to make it 3 that it would benefit with everything he just explained, bro. I hope that resonates, bro, because that it's pretty powerful if you really think about it.
I don't believe in coincidences, so a brother came up and said he'd like to do a healing coherence for our brother, Dr. Nick, who's over there fighting his way through, lying down. And so when we're going to do this, I'm going to have Matthias architect this process so you can see it in action. And when we do this, one of the things to think about is not just, okay, this will benefit Dr. Nick, but then imagine then Dr. Nick feeling better and then being able to serve his medicine to the rest of the community, many other people that this will benefit. And then all the people who will watch this and watch this healing occur, and then all of the benefit that will create when that healing occurs, so that there's more than just the singular desire. So if you're trying to manifest some abundant reality, well, what is that abundant reality going to help? Is it just going to help you? Well, that's not nearly as powerful to the universe. If you say, this thing manifests, look at all of the beauty that's going to come from that. And the weaver, the mystery, great spirit, the network will say, that's a pretty good idea. Look at all the people that's going to help. And so that superpowers the activation. So it's another way that this rule of 3 can be utilized. And then the last one, just to also touch on, is another thing that Matthias taught, which is the ability to bring yourself into a higher vibrational state. So of course, sex magic and manifestation, you guys are probably familiar with that. You bring yourself in a high erotic charge and then manifest from the heightened state of that erotic charge. But also laughter is a way to bring yourself into a high vibrational state. Sexual energy is not the only energy that the body can cultivate. There's other energetic states which hold extra power that you can utilize. So these are some of the codes that can help all of us in our manifestation process.
Mm-hmm. Sex, laughter, and fever. The holy trinity of Kundalini activation. Fever. Yeah, fever is very good also for the Kundalini activation. It cleans the whole body. So this pattern of 3 can be multiplied then from within, from your own source and
Thank you for the kicks, GMC McDougal. Thank you for the kicks, Gruffmeister.
equinox power towards others, and you create a holy trinity of this same thing with other 3 people. So you create being the positive or the negative or neutral in between other 2 people. But you can also multiply this for 6, creating something that we call the twin flame. And we tend to confuse the idea of the twin flame with a partner in life or a soul that is exactly my complement for life, but it's not. Sorry to kill the magic of trying to find your twin flame to fuck. But actually, it's yourself. Okay? It's more like a masturbation with the spirit than falling in love. But the
Holy Ghost. Here we go.
So the twin flame is basically in yourself, is the relationship between this cross, which is horizontal and vertical, which is the two flames that are the two fires that one ignites in the center of your brain and the other one in your root chakra. So both are basically activating your whole center, which is the heart, in the middle between the heart and the plexus, which is the I am. So when you have this in yourself, when you have that recognized in yourself, and then you pull it out into other two people with you, you start to manifest this flame from the root chakra, the negative, and the crown chakra, the positive, and you create the plexus. So it's like a whole process of Kundalini. And when you have 6 people, you are amplifying that into the 2 actual flames. So you create a fire of manifestation, a fire of God, the eye of God, let's say. So at least the machine of it. And then if you put 2 people in the center, one in negative and the other one in positive, someone, for example, feminine or masculine, or someone sick and someone healthy. So it creates also a powerful balance in what is happening inside. So it creates the sun, the moon, the download of a pattern of information. And then if you multiply that by 4 in the center, which is the 4 mother cells, the creators of your body. So you have all the potential that your body needs to awaken something. And around, instead of 6, you have 12. 12 people around, it creates the entire path of your soul. So 12 people around, 6 in the center, 6 around, would empower the strings with every constellation. So all the stars that makes this manifestation true.
All right, peace out, Scruffmeister. Love you. Thanks for being here today. I'm just dropping the kick link in all the chats, because in about 3 minutes we are going to only be on Kick. So make sure you hit the Kick link if you want to hang out for a little bit longer. We're probably going to do a breathwork exercise. We're going to let this play for just a few more minutes.
And then you can keep going that into 36. When you create 36, you are naming the positive aspects of the planet Earth. And then you multiply that into 72. And 72, you have all the names of God, which is all the powerful creation of the divine. And then you multiply it by 2 again in this duality, and you have 144. And with 144, you are able to speak with yourself in all the dimensions. So that's why, depending on where you want to go, as you multiply the pattern, you start to create a net that goes beyond yourself and your own manifestation, and you can amplify that in the manifestation through dimensions, not only in this reality. So you can actually start to bring the power of someone that is in other realms into this realm. And what happens is that who is in the center starts to become one of those 144, or all of them at the same time, which brings us to channeling.
So we are going to talk about channeling, and I think though before we get to that,
Alrighty, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. We're gonna only be on Kick. The link should be pinned to your chat. I'll see you guys in Kick if you're there. Kick, I see you. You're already, there's Kick up in here still. But if not, I love you. Peace out. I'll see you guys on Monday.